Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
Hey, what's up?
Everything was working fine on Discord until that second when Matt first went to say hello and it was delayed.
We've been saying, oh yeah, things are a lot better than usual. Is not lagging, no see, and then immediately as soon as we hit record.
Yes, he clicked something. He did something.
I'm starting to think it's my computer.
He definitely did something.
This dinosaur is on its way out.
There was a quick flash of black as if he clicked on something, and then everything just went away. See, I did it again.
I just clicked on solicit. Had them up.
Yeah, don't click on them.
Yeah, don't click on anything.
No more. I have diamond up. We're good.
Yeah,
just already ready to go.
Keep it on Discord. We'll just do it. Yeah, we're recording with Discord instead of Skype right now because the audio quality over the call is a little bit better. But we'll see how it goes. If it ends up causing more problems than it's worth, then we'll switch back. But
well, I deleted my Skype account, so joke's on you.
Kara's also here.
Yeah, I'm here. Fine.
Excellent. That's a perfect introduction for you. So we're talking about DC Comics. Coming up on this week's show, we have Batman issue 64, next part of the crossover with Flash. We have Justice League 18, Aquaman 45, Naomi issue 2, Catwoman issue 8, and then also the Punishment Patreon issues are going to be this week.
Yeah.
Connor's going to be reading Red Hood, Outlaw number 29, talking about it. And both of us will be talking about Nightwing issue 52. Yes, that is the next Rick Grayson issue. Because the last one we did, when we did it voluntarily, was back at number 51.
I'm not going to lie. I missed that episode, so didn't read 51. So, yeah, I just went straight into 52. I thought, I'll pick it up.
I think you're okay. Because 51 was... You could tell Ben Percy was that the last Ben Percy, or was 50?
No, 50 was Ben Percy. 51 was the first Lobdell one, which we did read, Matt. We did. I remembered the ending. I didn't really remember anything else that happened in it. But
I've exited out of my memory.
Yeah.
So I had a purge.
Yeah.
Well, very smart.
Yeah, we'll see what we could piece together when we get to talking about it later. But that is what's coming up book-wise this week's show. We do have some questions from the Twitters that we asked for people because it is a quieter week. But we also have solicits, which is good because it's a perfect week for it because there's not as much books to talk about.
There's really no books.
So we could talk about solicits for a good chunk of time and pass some time that way. So that's
well, I'm going to hear all these for the first time because I can't read them without causing chaos on Discord.
Seriously, guys, Matt was fine on Discord. It was like perfect quality the entire
for like
time.
30 minutes we were just being like, okay, yeah, everything's good. Just having a chat while we made sure nothing crept in.
Yes.
100% fine.
We start recording and all of a sudden little breaking
Matt
up
did
moments.
something. He definitely did something.
I can see it in his eyes.
It's gone now and it's working fine.
Okay. So you clue. All right. So first thing here is Batman Turtles 3 issue 1. We spoke about that last week in the news. So no surprises there. We did get the first issue of Batman Last Night on Earth solicited, which will be the first of 3 issues. It is a $6 56-page book. This is the Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo Black Label Batman story, which is funny because just last week we were talking about how none of the other Black Label books had found its way to solicits yet.
Yeah.
So
this is it's changed a little bit in its description compared to when it was first announced. Also, something that I thought was quite interesting is they're abandoning the how Batman Damned was the wider trim.
Yeah.
They're abandoning that. This is standard size. It's still prestige, double length, but standard size.
To be fair, the Batman Damned was never meant to be the standard across Black Label. It was meant to be every book could pick its own thing.
Okay, fair enough.
That was always
obviously
the case.
That was the only one we had, and they made a point of specifying in the solicit text.
I remember when they announced it. When they announced it, they said something like, "Oh, each book will have its own format, and they can do what they want with it." And Damned, obviously, they went for that wider page.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm into it. It's Snyder and Capullo. It's 3 issues. The prestige bi-monthly.
Yeah,
I'm down.
I'll be honest, after Batman Who Laughs pissed me off, I don't know if I'm even remotely excited for this, but we'll see.
Do you want to read out the description? Because obviously it's changed since the original announcement.
Sure, I'll read. So begins this... Oh, actually, There's a line before this, a couple of lines before this. There's a couple of weird, like, one-off sentences here. Bruce Wayne wakes up in Arkham Asylum, young, sane, and he was never Batman. Yeah, this is way different than before. What the hell's happened? So begins the sprawling tale of the Dark Knight as he embarks on a quest through the devastated DC landscape, featuring massive cast of familiar faces from the DC universe. As he tries to piece together the mystery of his past, he must unravel the cause of this terrible future and track down the unspeakable force that destroyed the world as we know it. Or as we knew it.
Feels like Old Man Logan.
Yeah, but he's young.
The Catman. Yeah.
It's
Young Man Bruce.
Young future man Bruce.
Yeah. I'm intrigued because I'm like, what the hell is this story?
What is this? What if we all get swerved and this is basically Snyder doing Last Man on Earth? The TV show, but with Batman. Yeah.
I hope Joker's head talks. He's walking around Joker's head.
It's got to.
Yeah.
So when this image first came up from the thumbnail, I was like, oh, is that a Green Lantern? Like,
it does look like it at first, doesn't
right?
it?
And then because I forgot what it was about, and then when you look at it now, you're like, oh no, that's clearly Joker's head.
Yeah.
But yeah. So guys, also if I'm looking down, the only way I could keep up is if I brought these up on my phone.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm just letting everyone know I'm not actively disregarding Pete more than I normally do, but. Yeah.
It's just a happy coincidence.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we got this listed for DC Year of the Villains issue 1. This is the one shot. It's essentially the Free Comic Book Day thing. It's 25 cents. It's out a couple of days before Free Comic Book Day. Kind of like what they did last year with the DC
most
Nation.
shops are going to treat it as a Free Comic Book Day thing, I would assume.
Yeah. So we have Bendis, Snyder, Tynion, and the writing team here. We have Jim Chung, Alex Maleev, and Francis Manapul. I assume the Maleev Bendis one. Their part of this will probably relate to what they're doing in Leviathan and so on. It makes sense that these are all going to be setting up different things for different books for the year.
Yeah,
you would imagine. As for what the Year of the Villains is going to be in terms of, is there actually miniseries coming out of this that are going to be on their own? I don't know.
I think we'll probably find out next month. Is it WonderCon next month?
Yep, yeah, it's in March. So we'll I assume we'll get some announcements for the summer there and see what we're getting. We did get this listed for Deceased issue 1, which is, they did confirm, is in Elseworld. It's not in continuity. This is Tom Kaler's book with Trevor Harrison, Stefano Guadiano, and James Harron on the art. There is some interesting things here. They've got like a cover that's like It, Stephen King's It, with a young Robin and Joker as Pennywise with the balloon.
It's a fantastic cover.
Yeah, we're talking the new It.
Yeah.
That came out a couple years ago, not the traditional TV miniseries version.
To be fair, Matt, I feel like people have forgotten that original existed now with the new one coming out, to be honest.
Yeah, but I just want to clear things up. Yeah. Just so it's not Joker looking like what's his face?
Oh yeah, like God, Curry, Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Tim Curry,
yeah.
All I could see was him in Home Alone 2 when they superimposed the Grinch over him and he has the same smile.
So
it's an inspired piece of art, though.
I'll read the text here. A mysterious technovirus has been released on Earth, infecting 600 million people and turning them instantly into violent, monstrous engines of destruction. So they're kind of zombies.
Yeah. In an interview, Taylor outright said, "Yeah, it's a zombie story."
Yeah, they're tech zombies, but they're zombies. The heroes of DCU are caught completely unprepared for this pandemic of this magnitude and struggle to save their loved ones first. But what happens to the world's greatest heroes if the world ends? So, yeah, what's interesting is I saw like Taylor was being very proactive on Twitter about combating statements and things like that, and people were like, "Oh, Batman's at the center, or it's a Batman, he's the main character, and this again." And Taylor just outright responded with, "He's not," and just said, "No, there's more to." Like, honestly, because it's an Elseworld, I feel like he's going to kill people left and right. So,
yeah. I feel like it's going to be. James called it, DC zombies, right? And that the Marvel Zombies book, that's what happened. Like, they were dying left and right. I remember the first issue, Magneto gets torn apart limb from limb, So.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm a lot disappointed that it's not like Tom Taylor on an ongoing book, but it is Tom Taylor, therefore I'm excited. And my hope is that if this does well, he's more likely to get an ongoing book.
That's true.
Yes.
So.
And I will say, this is the sort of book that, even if it wasn't Tom Taylor, just on premise, I'd be like, okay, I'm intrigued for this one.
See, if it wasn't Tom Taylor, I'm skipping this.
Really?
So yeah, I don't like zombies. We went over this. Yeah,
I'd be down.
It depends. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily have to be Tom Taylor, but I would need a name on this that I care about.
Yeah.
Like on its own, I'd feel like, it's just an Elseworld about zombies. You know.
Yeah. Well, like, if this is Scott Snyder doing this, I'm just like, yeah, pass. Like,
well, today that's probably what I would say. If it had been Scott Snyder 5 years ago doing this, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it.
You people are the worst.
No, you put him in a werewolf story, and I'm down. Yeah, you know, I'll read any.
That's next.
Any of those.
So worth mentioning, we got a resolicitation for Batman and the Outsiders issue 1. It's coming in May now, and Brian Hill did confirm on the Twitters that this is indeed real and it happening.
Oh, good. Finally.
And there's a Cedric variant. Oh, baby.
Oh, it looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, let me see this. Oh, yeah.
It is pretty...
I had a look at the text. Nothing jumped out at me as being different from the original text, but I never went back to actually check. I don't know. You know, obviously, this has been delayed for reasons. I don't know if it was, you know, a similar case with what we got with Odyssey, where there was changes behind the scenes.
Maybe I wonder if it was just like Hill, because I know Hill was finishing up all the comic book work and he wasn't coming back to it. Maybe he was wanting to finish up everything else, or maybe something. Who knows? But here it is. So it's finally coming, and I'm looking forward to it. So. Cool. So that was kind of the big standout new things, but I'm sure there's other oddities and things I've mentioned in here. There's a one shot coming at the end of the month, called Dog Days of Summer issue 1, which is basically, you know, every so often they'll do these anthology books. They usually do them for Valentine's Day and Halloween. Yep. This is the summer one. It does have a notable list of creators though in this one. We got Joelle Wilson, Joshua Williamson, Mariko Tamaki, Dan Didio, Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, and others. You get Cedric's one of the artists. I'll recognise the rest of the artists actually off the top of my.
Coley Hamner.
I recognise him.
Yeah. Coley Hamner and Rainey. I've heard Rainey, but just that cover cracks me up. So it's got Batcow and Crypto with Beast Boy.
Yeah, and he's eaten both a long sandwich and a Batman ice lolly. Yeah. Or sorry, popsicle for
there you go.
The rest of the world.
Looks like Crypto's had a bite out of that though.
Yeah, he has. Yes. Yeah, Crypto's licking his lips.
And Batcow's eating a carrot. So like this looks fun. I don't buy a lot of these because I don't have time to read them. But this one I might. Considering the...
Well, this is the thing. It's on a week 5, but there's only like 2 or 3 other books. So, you know, the chances of us reading this are more likely than perhaps it would normally be.
But I'm just looking at those writers too. And that's, you know, I might want this for my physicals, you know, that is still growing because I have a problem.
Of course you do. I mean, I'm becoming just as bad, Matt. I'm starting to buy more physical books. So, I mean...
Yeah, but Pete, you, like, I literally don't have room. I need to stop and I can't stop. Like Naomi this week, I was like, I was just gonna get the first and physical and then get the rest. And then I was like, I'm gonna once Bendis made that announcement, once Bendis made the announcement that it's gonna be Hellboy style and they're gonna basically do them in 6-issue chunks.
Yeah. That came from an AMA he did on Reddit. There was a bunch of details in there. There was Naomi's going to be in seasons, or actually, more specific, Wonder Comics is going to be in seasons. It sounds like Young Justice will be ongoing, but the rest of them will come in like batches of 6, and Naomi's going to have like a second season, so it'll take a break after issue 6 and come back for a second wave.
Which is what most independent comics are doing right now anyways.
That's so...
Yeah, you know? I obviously he's liking it here specifically to Hellboy because it's getting retitled with separate series. The having a break for usually three months or so between arcs is what I expect from most Image books now. Yeah, because he said because they keep the artists consistent.
Because he said an Amethyst book's coming in wave 2, so probably 6 issues again. But this makes me feel better about Wonder Twins being 6 issues because it means that there might be a Wonder Twins 2, like in wave 3, for example.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's what I've always hoped that DC would do instead of having all these ongoing. Just do like these smaller stories. And then it builds them for trade too. You know what I mean? So if you want people to trade collect, like I know a lot of people do that with Hellboy, you know, they just wait for the whole book to come out and it's like the next part in the saga. So
he also said that Naomi's heritage, her last name, is kind of a big deal. So The reveal of what her last name is and where she comes from is probably going to be quite big.
So
some of the covers for like 5 and 6 clearly show her looking like she's got powers. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's cool. There was a bunch of interesting little tidbits that came from that.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I wasn't going to, but now when that came out earlier in the week, I was like, well, I might as well just have all of these in singles,
More in Bendis stuff in a second, but before we get to that solicit, we got Heroes in Crisis issue 9. It's worth mentioning the final issue has been solicited. And
I don't like that variant. I don't like what it's suggesting.
Yeah, because all those photograph variants for Heroes in Crisis have all been things from the past.
I think, yeah.
Whereas this one clearly looks like it's either the start of it's either the start of this story or it's something that's going to happen at the end of the story.
And you say that, I think even the regular cover is just as potentially concerning.
Oh, it's worrying. It absolutely is worrying.
I can rationalize that one because of what's happened to that character. But
sure, yeah. Hey, Matt, if you want to go for a ride of mental gymnastics, I'm happy to go along with you. I'm happy to do it.
Do what you
I'm
gotta
just
do.
saying, like, he came from the lightning. He can recede back to the lightning.
No receding. No. So yeah, final Heroes in Crisis is in May. We'll see how that goes.
Remember after Blackest Night, Jeff Johns dead.
Repeat that, Matt. You cut out for a second.
I just said, remember when Jeff Johns after Blackest Night said, "Dead is dead." It's not reassuring.
Yeah, but they never stick to that anyway.
Yeah, I have faith. We've got a question about this later, actually, so I'll save any more discussion. But so the next thing, which is very notable, is that there's another big $10 80-page book coming in the last week of May, but this one's more in continuity and relevant to what's going on. It is Superman Leviathan Rising Special Issue 1, which will have a main story by Bendis, but it'll also have stories by Fraction, Greg Rucka, and Mark Andreyko. Now, Mark Andreyko, of course, will be writing a Supergirl story, I assume, in there, because that's what he's been writing. Now, what are they all two writing, though, you might ask? And what announcements come from these inclusions?
I mean, even just before we get to anything else, Matt Fraction on a DC book.
I know, yeah. I mean,
that's a huge deal in itself.
We got Kelly Sue on Aquaman. We got Kelly Sue on Aquaman. We got Matt Fraction now on, wait for it, Jimmy Olsen. And then we have Greg Rucka on a Lois Lane story, because he's going to do a Lois Lane book, which they confirmed that one starting in June. I don't know if they confirmed when the Fraction one started.
I can see these being the 6-issue mini kind of on, with seasons.
I could see that too. That's how you get them on board.
Right now, I feel like on Parks and Rec where Ron gets really giddy. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel right now.
You never see it until this.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, they'd both been rumoured to some extent before, because we heard that rumour a long time ago about the Fraction Olsen book, and we were like, Matt Fraction, Jimmy Olsen book? What? What's happening? Yeah. But here it is. I think Bendis is responsible for this. I think Fraction's here because Bendis is.
Yeah. Well, they're all buddies. They all live in Oregon, and they all meet up for coffee and whatnot. Like
it's Fraction and Kelly Sue that are married, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense. Once one of them's over there, the other one's out. Well, I might as well.
Yeah. So no,
and I know Fraction had said like he was grown weary of superhero books, and this really doesn't. He can be like, yeah, I'm not writing a superhero. I'm writing Jimmy Olsen. Superheroes are involved.
Yeah,
but,
one of the images that went out, actually, of, I presume this
Turtle
special...
Boy?
Sorry?
Is it Turtle Boy? Is it Jimmy Olsen Turtle Boy? Please tell me it's Jimmy Olsen Turtle Boy.
No. I mean, it's Jimmy Olsen, but he's surrounded by people from various factions. But one of the factions that he's surrounded by, 2 of them are from Checkmate. And if Rucka's... If Checkmate's going to be involved in this in any way, it means Rucka might actually be writing Checkmate again.
Yeah, I think... I don't know if Rucka's going to be doing that. I think that's to do with the Leviathan stuff that Ben's got going on. He mentioned a bunch of all the organizations are going to be involved in that.
Yeah, but you could have Lois covering Checkmate too.
Well, you could,
what I mean?
yeah. But I mean, it's not necessarily. It's like, oh, Rucka could be doing it. I mean, it's part of the larger Bendis story for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is exciting to me. I know some people aren't as excited about side characters or like Like, so many people have got something they'd rather have than a Lois and Jimmy book. But here's the thing for me is that these creators clearly want to write these books because they've been in line for a long time. And for me, the creators having the ideas and the passion for something is way more exciting than just having a book because X name needs a book.
So I look at this like this is how many Bat books do we have on a monthly basis that are, associated with Gotham? Like, no, I'm not gonna say Nightwing right now, but typically Nightwing, Batgirl,
Yeah.
We could include, Teen Titans because of Damian.
Red
so
Hood.
the fact now that we're gonna have, Action Comics, Superman, both by Bendis, then you're gonna have Supergirl by Andreyko, and then Jimmy Olsen by Fraction and Lois Lane by Rocha.
No, don't get me wrong. I think Jimmy's the one that you have to sell me on a little bit more just because, like, I've always wanted a Lois Lane Daily Planet book. Jimmy Olsen, I don't necessarily need a book. I feel like Jimmy should be a character in Lois's book. But because you got Fraction on it and he's got something he wants to do with them, sure, go for it.
Back when Robinson was writing Superman, I think. He was writing Superman. They had Nick Spencer, Jim Olsen backups. And that's where they tried to introduce Chloe.
Yeah, I remember that.
Universe. It was right before the New 52 happened.
Yeah.
And if this Jimmy book's kind of in that spirit, where it gets serious, but it's also a little bit like comedic, I think that's Fraction. Fraction can do that super well.
It's one of those things where Jimmy Olsen had a book for a long time.
Yeah, Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But that was a long-running series. It wasn't like, this is, sure, give Jimmy a book.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's only weird in the last, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
As long as he's not playing Secret Agent like in that terrible episode that made me rage quit Smallville. I'll be good.
You cut out for a second there, but it happened at the perfect time where it just made suspense for what you were about to say.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that one.
It was fine.
So this is a big deal, I think. I'm actually really looking forward to this Leviathan Rising special, because it seems like what it's doing is that it's setting up Leviathan, the story itself, but also setting up what Supergirl's doing next, what the Lois and Jimmy books are going to be doing.
It says a lot at how much I'm looking forward to the two books. That this is a $10 book. I'm only going to read half of it, and I'm still okay with that.
You should probably try the Supergirl section, because you've been kind of avoiding that.
Yeah.
And you may actually quite like the Supergirl stuff.
There's no point in jumping into it there.
And maybe starting a new section, though. Maybe starting a new arc.
That's fine. I'll stick with the two.
All right, okay. I tried, people. I tried to get them to branch out.
I think you dig it.
It is.
That was pretty cool.
I just want to mention the variant cover for Batgirl 35. Can we just talk about how beautiful that is, please?
Well, the regular cover, too. It's got a Maniple cover.
Yeah, I like that regular.
The regular one's pretty good, although I do think her body proportions are a little bit weird.
I don't know. I like that it looks super pulpy, and we all know how I feel about pulp.
You do like pulp.
So,
Nah, the Middleton cover for me is gorgeous.
The Middleton cover looks like it would be on like a card. Like, you see the collectible cards like back in the 90s.
Yeah, I can see that.
This looks like he would be on one of those. And have all her information on the back.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Batman Damned Issue 3 got resolicited for May, so that should be coming out then. At least they're claiming.
Didio took the blame for that one, though.
What did he?
Yeah. Basically, what happened is he didn't go through the approval process quick enough. But, he signed off on it, like to go to the solicits before he'd gone. Actually, I need these changes doing, and so then because
he
they
demanded more.
Yeah,
more
basically. Yeah, exactly. He's like, because he went back, I was like, right, we need to change these things. Get rid of the bat dick.
Batwang.
No, I made the opposite joke. I must have cut out. So Didio asked for more. He wants that controversy.
Yeah, that's how you sell issues, people.
Yeah. So we have a Catwoman annual in the last week of the month as well. So that's the thing that's happening. Yes, yeah. Batman. We have a Detective Comics annual too. So those are the annuals, I think, from my previous glances. Here's something that I think is odd.
Ambitious is the word you're looking for.
Ambitious, yes. My favorite tweet this week, actually, I saw about this, was you know that gif from Dodgeball where it's like Jason Bateman, he's like the commentator at the sports game, and he's like, hey, that's a bold move, Cotton, we'll see how it plays out for them. I saw someone post that gif in reaction to this. Doomsday Clock 11 has been solicited for May 22nd. Now, keep in mind, issue 9 is not coming out now until the first week of March. So, right now, they're claiming that issue 10 will make it in April, and then issue 11 will make it in May. Now, I would love nothing more than this. If they pull this off,
now,
beautiful.
We know that Frank is finished with issue 9. Right?
Yeah, he's
working on issue 10, because he posted a page on Twitter this weekend. Oh, boy. I'm excited.
Matt's not seen this. He's got this look in his eyes like, what is this? What is this?
I know what it is because I saw Connor talking either on Twitter or.
Do you want me to send you it, Matt?
You can if you want. But I'm just laughing. What if like Johns brings this team back, then it's Bendis? I'm just like,
don't do that to me.
Yeah, so
I can't take that.
So we'll see if that. I mean, I think issue 10 is more likely for that date.
Yeah, I agree.
But we'll see. What
that cover looks great, though. Like I'm loving that.
You talking about the villains one, or are you talking about the one with the? Was it?
Yeah, the villains one. Yeah.
The control panel.
Oh my god, it's that cover. It's that classic cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, just glancing down solicits for all things of interest.
Flash is starting its year 1 story.
That's right. Yeah. Flash is starting year 1, which I'm actually kind of looking forward to. I like the idea of, because I think it being double shipping. I like the idea of taking 3 months off to do this year 1 story.
Yeah.
I think Williamson can tie everything together nicely. So I'm just scanning the rest.
Green Lantern
jumps out.
That Green Lantern 7 cover looks amazing. I just wish I could enjoy the book.
They're doing a Soulstone kind of thing where he's trapped inside his own ring and there's a universe in there. I'm intrigued. Matt's clearly not.
No. I want to read Green Lantern again.
Oh, that Shazam variant's quite pretty. Or is that the variant?
So speaking of variants, did you see what happened with the Justice League thing?
No.
So you know how I think it was 19, 20, and 21 were supposed to have the 3 covers that connected.
Yeah.
That's been scrapped. What they're doing now is 19 and 21 are getting new covers entirely. 20 is still keeping its cover. The regular cover is still just the middle of that.
The fold-out thing?
No. They're doing them as variants. Both of them are variants for issue 20 now, which is really shitty.
That's scummy.
That's gone from you need to buy 19, 20, and 21, the 3 issues that you were probably going to buy anyway, to now you need to buy, 5 issues to get the whole thing.
You have to buy issue
guess what?
23 times.
Yeah.
Guess what? I will not be doing that, and I'll just opt for the regular cover.
No, I know, but it's shitty. Because there are collectors who want that, and we're gonna have a nice, easy way to get it, right? And now it's just like, no, now you got to jump through hoops and pay us 3 times the amount.
Yeah, that is definitely shitty. I don't approve of that.
Yeah.
So we all know how I feel about Harley Quinn, right? Like, take her or leave her, it's fine. She's fine in small doses. And then it was announced that Otto Schmidt is going to be joining as the artist with Sam Humphries. And now I'm kind of upset because that makes me want to read. Yeah. I like those 2.
And I do like that Cho cover.
Yeah, I hate Cho, but that cover's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
Dear. It is worth mentioning as well. I mentioned last week, I think, that a lot of hardcovers have been cancelled recently. There's a few of them that have been resolicited with the May solicits. So it seems like whatever was going on behind the scenes that was causing a lot of cancellations seemed to be fixed, or that have, it wasn't so much that they were...
At least in terms of the hardcovers.
Yeah, it wasn't so much that we're cancelling them for good, they were just having to think. Because Swamp Thing, Absolute Edition by Alan Moore, that got resolicited. I think one of the other omnibuses did as well, but so hopefully that means everything else that got cancelled at some point will show up resolicited.
Yeah, it was the Injustice omnibus, I think.
There you go. Because they cancelled the Batman Hush omnibus, and that was a weird one. I assumed that would have made it, but maybe it still will. It'll just be.
I think that was always a bit of a weird omnibus anyway for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed like a bit hodgepodge. Just throw it together. Like, oh yeah, there's a character in there.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, whatever.
That was the solicits. So, yeah. May's shaping up. A couple of interesting things in there.
Yeah.
And I never notice if anything's missing because it's hard to remember everything that's supposed to be there and then notice it's missing.
Yeah, I typically check through Newsarama's, what we learned.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just clicking through it now to see if there is anything notable.
Connor, you know how we were talking about Vision's really not doing the Wonder Woman covers?
Yeah, she's back on them again now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those Dotson covers look great though too.
They do.
It was the same with Batgirl. Middleton left for like 2 or 3 issues, and now he's back on them.
Yeah, this is a bit longer that she's gone for because it was gonna be 6 or 8 issues or something like
that. Yeah. It's back with what issue is this? 1771.
Yeah.
Man, we're getting up there on the numbers on these Rebirth books.
We are. Oh my god, the cover for Young Justice 5.
That's just reacting to covers now.
I am.
You can tell he didn't look at these earlier in the week, can't you?
Yeah, he's just
I don't.
He's like, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
So if you want me and Car to do the same thing with the Marvel solicits, we'll be doing that on the next Elsewhere on the Multiverse, which is our companion show where me and Car talk about Marvel and other books from other companies.
What if I don't want you to do that?
Tough shit.
Don't watch it.
Well, because you made it sound like it was a choice. Like
it's a choice. You could choose to watch or listen to it, or you can not. I mean, not to give you an ultimatum.
The way that you phrased it was like, if you want us to do that,
ask. Yeah, it did sound a bit like, hey, speak up.
So I want to know what the opposite was.
Yes. Elsewhere on the Multiverse is the companion show that me and Carter do, so go check that out. Anyway, so yeah, I suppose it's time for some questions, some listener.
Really? Do you not want to talk about the other bit of news that came out of the from Didier with the comics retailers meeting?
Oh, we should talk about that. You're right. All right, go on then. You can get it up.
I don't have it up. I'm going from memory. So
go from memory. Well, I
would get it up, and it would screw up.
Yeah, this is based on a few weeks. I think we spoke about it a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
I think it was last week.
Was it that recent?
The rumors were last week. Remember about them downsizing?
Yeah. So the rumor was they were going down to 22 titles a month. Didier said no, absolutely not 22. That's too low. However, assuming that everything that's been reported is true from what we said, because obviously this is a retailers only event and it's kind of just getting passed through, is they are cutting titles by 10 to 15% of their current output. I don't know if that means from right now or including the spate of cancellations that we've kind of been having over the last couple of months.
Given that they've announced a few more things, and we know we're getting 2 more super books, and we know we're getting a couple other things, it feels like they've already accounted for that 10%.
It does.
Well, yeah,
it does.
But would you think that 10% also happens with them doing these seasons too? Because that means that those are months that they won't have books.
That's true. Yeah. And I know they got someone new in whatever the new position was that's coming and take over. I can't remember what the position is. She's quite high up. And apparently, she's done wonders for the direct, not the direct market, for the book market in the past. So I think DC have always done a great job of looking at the bookstore market.
Yeah.
It's why their trade releases are frustratingly staggered because they just sell so much better in that way at the bookstores, which is where is undeniably a bigger audience. I think the shift to the seasons is again going after that audience. It's frustrating monthly. But long term, that's probably a reasonable strategy, and it sucks for comics retailers though. It sucks for comic stores.
Comic stores are feeling the worst of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's I'm torn because as a consumer, it's probably quite a good thing in the long run for us. But it is bad for the stores.
Yeah, stores aren't super happy. I mean, I'd say just if you don't want this to affect the stores badly, just keep buying your DC books at your stores, and they'll keep ordering them, and they'll keep making money.
As much as you can.
That's what I do.
Yeah, just do what you want with that. But Yeah.
And see, and Marvel's taking the complete opposite approach, because did you look at all the War of Realm books that are coming out?
We will be talking about those.
Oh, don't you worry, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had to make because I have a schedule that I have of all the books that we do each week on both this show and elsewhere, right? So I've got that. I've got this Google Doc, and if I scroll down to April, where War of the Realms begins, I've got all the tie-ins highlighted in yellow, which we may or may not do, because let's face it, tie-ins for these things are optional, and they're going to stay optional, right? There are 2 or 3 almost every week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, some are more optional than others.
Yes.
We'll learn which ones are which closer to the time. Is usually how this thing goes.
Yeah. I'm just going to read you these, right? Just to throw some shade on how much Marvel are putting out for this event. So tie-ins. We have War of the Realms Punisher, which is a miniseries. We have War of the Realms Spider-Man in the League of Realms, which I think is also a miniseries.
Yep.
We have War of the Realms Journey into Mystery, which is a miniseries. We have War of the Realms War Scrolls, which is a miniseries. We have War of the Realms Uncanny X-Men, which is a miniseries. We have War of the Realms Strike Force Dark Elf issue 1, that's a one-shot.
It's a one-shot.
We have War of the Realms Strike Force War Avengers, one-shot. We have Giant Man, a new series, which is being labelled as a War of the Realms tie-in. We have another Strike Force, which is Land of the Giants issue 1. And then I think that's it for now. But that was a lot. I just read out a lot of books.
Well, that New Agents of Atlas.
Oh yeah, that one too. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah.
That's another one. So
that's at least 7 minis and a handful of one-shots.
Yes, those minis are all like 3 issues, I think. So
yeah, this is going to be over 3 months.
Yeah.
I think it's April, May, June. I think.
That's how the 3 months go back to
back.
back.
I'm thinking it's starting in April, isn't it? It's not starting at the end of March.
No, it's starting in May, then continuing in April, and then going to June.
Yeah.
Look, it wasn't a concern of what order were those months in, or which ones. I was not sure if it started in March or if it started in April. Clearly. God. Dick.
We get a random comment on an old review this week that says, the guy in the glasses is a dick to the other guy. And you know what? I gave it a thumbs up and smiled.
Yeah. What was it? Something last week, you made me look really... It was that trailer talk. You made me look right shit on that trailer episode.
Connor was talking nonsense, so
I was not. Everything it made perfect sense, and he twisted my words.
What nonsense were you talking?
I'm not getting into it. You can go and watch it. Go watch the last trailer.
Basically, he thinks Octavia Spencer and Luke Evans have saved the horror genre.
That's not what I said. In any way, is not what I said.
Well, that Mom movie looks a lot of fun. So
he's like, this is the movie that tells me the horror genre's back, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the movie. I said.
That's not what I meant. And you know it. There was a big explanation. It went on for far too long because Pete's a dick.
Here's the thing, though. You gotta realize he records with Tim regularly, and Tim loves the boy. So this is like his default setting is to disagree about with a co-host. So
damn it. Yeah, I was looking for the exact wording on that news of the video said and stuff, but my searching only gave me the rumors from last week, annoyingly.
Really?
Yeah. I couldn't get the right phrase to make the actual article from this week trigger, but sorry, I think we covered it well enough. That's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, so no, that was worth mentioning. Yeah, so it doesn't seem like it's as bad as we thought it was. It still does have some concerns, maybe long term.
Just on that, I've got from a retailer on Twitter who I happen to search out, Ryan Higgins, because I knew he'd posted the article, which is why I was going to go.
Yeah.
In the last 2 hours, they've said here's the official news that they've been given the go-ahead to talk about. So the DC's cut of 10 to 15% has already happened. So there we go.
Okay.
That speculation's done. He's saying he's assuming it was the New Age stuff, and all the other bits that we've had over the last couple of months that we're talking about. The Walmart longer arcs will be reprinted as graphic novels that comic stores will be getting later this year. Shorter stories will be in some upcoming 100-page specials.
Okay, well, I mean, that's some monthlies for us, Connor, on the Patreon. There you go.
It is, yeah.
We can do those.
The Walmart line is ending and replaced with 100-page specials available everywhere. 48 pages of new material, with the rest being classic material. No price given.
Oh, so that's something we may start covering then. If the
if I don't have to go to the store that must not be named. then
Yeah.
great.
What's this? Important note I missed: the 10 to 15% to cut the line was to make room for the all ages and young adult graphic novels and new 100-page giant series. So they're publishing mostly the same amount of content, just in different formats.
I'm okay with taking a 10% cut to the monthly comics for those young age stuff to exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're diversifying, you know.
Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Here's something fun that happens with Discord that didn't Skype. If I leave my mouse alone, my
it goes to screensaver. Yeah, mine does that too.
That's great.
Yeah, you have to move every so often. I found that out last night.
I've got my screensaver turned off, so I have not encountered this problem. But
well, aren't you special?
Yeah, but that's interesting because I suddenly feel a lot better about this after that.
Yeah,
than I did 5 minutes ago.
Oh, that all sounds fine. It does kind of sound like it was a bit of a internet hype it up. And I fell into it a little bit last week when I was talking about it. Is that it's something concerning, but happy to say that it sounds like it's not that bad. It sounds.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Oh, this is what they've been given the go-ahead to talk about, so the real bad stuff might not have come out. But all of that stuff makes me feel better. The 10 to 15%'s already happened. We've seen that. Don't get me wrong. We've felt it get smaller, but there were books that we weren't really feeling anyway for the most part.
I'm disappointed Sideways ended, but I mean, most of the other stuff they cancelled recently.
Yeah, but are you surprised that Sideways ended?
No.
Oh,
Matt's gone. It's got a sharper sound on Discord though, right? It had a slightly different sound to it.
How's that now?
You're good.
That's fine.
You're good.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if anything though, it makes me kind of like, hey, Silencer survived this. It's still going. Oh,
and Terrifics.
Yeah, and Terrifics.
Yeah.
And
I feel like Terrifics was always more lately, though. I feel like Silencer felt like it could have went the way of the other books.
I agree. Terrifics had the much more firmly DC kind of history to it. I will say I like that they're actively saying, no, we're reprinting the Walmart stuff later in the year.
Good, because
we've been interested in some of those.
Yeah.
There's like a Gail Simone Flash story going on right now. There was a Tom King Superman story that, it was 12 parts, but I think they're shorter than a full issue, so it's probably going to be like a 6-issue thing at the end.
Yeah.
Bendis Batman.
Bendis Batman, that's right.
Yeah, and then these new 100-page specials that'll be available everywhere, which is 48 pages of new material for each one is reasonable.
Yeah, so basically, we'll probably cover those. We'll just probably ignore all the reprint stuff that have to because,
Yeah, I'm hoping these go on Comixology as well then.
Oh, they better, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming if the comic stores can order them through Diamond, then they probably will go up on Comixology. That's usually how it works.
If they don't, that's when we might not actually cover them, but yeah.
Okay.
And also, the focus on the all ages, young adult stuff. We've been saying for a while that the Zoom and Ink is looking really solid.
No, it's a good idea. Even if I end up not reading any of it, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of kids stuff, real quick, did we talk about the DC Lucha Libre toys that are coming out?
God.
We did not. No, I saw a couple of images, but.
Of course, that's what Matt wants to talk about.
Well, I just want to say, I've never wanted an action figure at Superman. He looks like the Lucha great El Santo. Who El Santo was such ingratiated into the culture down in Mexico that there are movies about him, like starring him in his mask and everything, doing like superhero stuff.
I'm looking at them
stopping
now.
Crime.
If anyone doesn't know, this is just kind of like how they did like the bombshells, and they did the primal. They also did the Mad
These are
Max.
just action figures though, rather than because the bombshells were more statues.
Sure, but in the same sense where it's like a theme, and they're doing all the characters in that theme.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically.
But if we get like a book, like they're kind of doing with the primal, like that's just kind of
Lucha Libre Superman.
I will read that. Oh, and
do you know what is interesting? Given that we just heard that their deal with Walmart, it's not that it's fallen through. They've had that exclusivity, but I did not expect that news that we'd be getting those elsewhere, because earlier this week we got the Batman Black and White series. They'll be actually doing smaller versions of them exclusively for Walmart.
Oh, that's cool.
So
you're talking about the statues, right?
Yeah, the statues. I think they're 4 inches instead of whatever the regular size is.
Yeah, that's cool.
But having had that earlier this week, I thought, okay, that relationship's still in full force. This is going to continue for a while. So interesting.
Yeah. All right, there you go. So now we'll move on to some questions from the Twitters, and we'll see what we've got here. So, first up, from @StewOn, which DC characters do you think would make the best and worst roommates? Well, worst is, Jason Todd. Like, let's just get that out of the way immediately.
Yeah.
Leaving his bloody crowbar everywhere. Bro. I'm going to say Hal Jordan because he's never home. Right?
That's a good answer. I'm going to say Bruce Wayne because if I'm rooming with him, I've got a mansion.
Alfred.
And Alfred's there. Yeah, Alfred, make me a sandwich. Yes, Master Peter. Thank you, Alfred. I like you, Alfred. We'll get on great.
You'd be such a dick to Alfred.
I love Alfred.
No, sassy Alfred would tear Pete up. Oh,
yeah.
He
stands no chance.
Yes,
watching movies again, huh? Okay. Well, you could be doing something, but instead you're sitting here. You know, I was in a. I can see him doing. I was in an active troop and a medic in the army. What are you doing? He's the worst stepdad of all time.
Yes, I can see that. How else do you have?
Just for fun, I want Dick Grayson. Just like, not Rick, like traditional, Dick Grayson, get to hang out with him, play Cheese Viking.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Not that Dick's one of the obvious answers you could throw out there because he's more down to earth than a lot of other characters.
Wally when he's alive.
I guess I didn't really think of Wally because I still think of Wally's being married with kids, who then I assume I can't room with someone who's married with kids, so I'm thinking of the single folk mostly.
Yeah. Narrows it down though.
It does narrow it down a
little
bit, which makes it because there's not a lot of marriages in DC. That's the thing. But no, Bruce Wayne for the mansion.
Think about if you have Cyborg, you never have to pay for Uber because he'll just boom tube everywhere.
Or electricity. I'm pretty sure you could just charge the whole house.
That's what I'm saying. Internet is never going to be faster.
Yeah.
So
I feel like Cyborg just has to recharge himself though. So that electricity bill might be through the roof.
I don't know. The stuff like Tesla's doing with their batteries, I'm sure 10 times of what that is. So
I just feel like his power consumption rate is significantly higher than Tesla.
Mother box, bro.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Mother box. All right. Next up at Carthanis. I just read Identity Crisis and absolutely loved it. Each issue was filled with tension. I really enjoyed the mystery. As someone who's only been reading comics since Rebirth, what was the controversy with this book? I don't quite understand why there's so much hatred for it. This is an interesting question because
a large part of it is just the fact that it has the crisis in the name.
Yeah,
and it's not a traditional crisis.
Yeah, but you can say the same about Heroes in Crisis right now.
And
you could, and it's going through a similar thing.
I feel that through the same amount of issues, Identity Crisis was much better told. I like it.
You know what I mean? Here's the thing, though. There's also a large proponent on the internet who really hates it because of its inclusion of I won't spoil anything, but there is a rape plot line in the book, and a lot of the internet aren't super hot in that. But here's the weird thing about this book is that when I read this book for the first time about, I don't know, this was probably in 2010, maybe 2009, something like that.
Wow.
When I read that book then, I didn't know what anyone else thought of it. I just read it, right? I just read it because I was working through like big DC books. I didn't really know what people thought of all these old books. And when I read it in a vacuum, I loved it. So when I saw other people's criticisms of it, like I kind of get what they're saying, but ultimately I still thought it was a really well told story. And
but it's not done. That story is not done as like a oh my god gimmick. The way that it reverberates the entire Justice League, and especially that character and what it did to that character going forward.
Do you know what I think it is? I think I've also seen people online who think that Identity Crisis is kind of the poster child for the start of DC trying to be dark, and it is a dark story. Like there's no question that it is a dark story.
But the way that it ends with what that character says, like it's starting to make me feel emotional right now, just because of that journey. You go on with it.
It is a great story.
I think
I love that story.
I have no problems with DC being dark. I think my problem is that as long as I love the characters and they're going, because this is the thing, good storytelling tends to be when the characters do go through some shit, right? That's usually what makes it good.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like I understand people have stuff at face value, but like I'm gonna bring it back to wrestling. When when you have a heel that says some really terrible crap, right? He's looking for that bad reaction. So to hold that up and go, I can't believe you said that in 2019 or 2018, it's like, well, yeah, he's playing a character that you're not supposed to like. You know, like, I doubt that's what he really means, you know? Like, and it's always about context for me. And, like, I don't feel Meltzer was trying to be edgy, or there was a story that he could tell about the private lives of superheroes.
Yeah.
And what that would mean. Because the reverberations that came out from Identity Crisis through Infinite Crisis to, you know, Brightest Day in 52.
Yeah, like, I love that era of DC. I mean, I've not read Identity Crisis specifically in a long time now, so I mean, I'll be curious to see what I feel about it after a present day reread. But I'm
glad you liked it. Who was that again? Who was that comment from?
That was at Carthanis.
Yeah, Carthanis. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, because it is Brad Meltzer. He is one of my favorite authors, just period. So then when he came to comics, like, it was extra special. So if you really enjoyed that, check out.
If anything, because I don't know if you've ever spoken about this before. If anything, to our listeners, it may be controversial that all three of us like the book.
Yeah,
that might be.
We've kind of mentioned it from time to time. I think when Heroes in Crisis was announced, and we were like, okay,
that's true. Yeah,
this
is going to be, you know, a take on Identity Crisis style of Crisis.
And it's not as good. It's nowhere near as good.
No. But I will say, if you did like Identity Crisis, Johns was writing JSA and Meltzer was writing JLA. I think it was just Justice League. I think they rebranded it right after that. And there's a story called The Lightning Saga, which is in my top 10 stories of all time.
Yeah, you've got that. It reads to the sacrifice. Because it all just kind of leads up to like Infinity Crisis from there, essentially. Read 52, read all those things. But no, we like it. So at Tim3 Robin, so this is the one that actually relates to Heroes in Crisis. So this actually nicely spins onto this question.
Yep.
What are the odds? What are the odds that at the end of Heroes in Crisis we'll be in a positive place where they leave Wally?
50-50.
You think 50-50?
No, I'm going to give better odds. I'm giving 3-1 odds.
You think better? I was going to be kind of cynical here and say I'm hoping for the best, but I'm going to downplay it and say maybe like 35%.
No, I'm 50-50 in that. I at this point I can still see it going either way.
That's fair. You know what? Given how cynical you are, I'm happy to hear you still say it's 50-50, to be honest.
Here's the thing. Because obviously I've not been enjoying Heroes in Crisis as much as either of you two. Looking at it from that perspective, I'm going, I can see all this being... I can still see where all this is undone. Yeah. And none of it just matters, basically.
Well, and going through, this is tipping hand for Batman.
Yeah.
I like that we feel like it's actually happening in continuity. Like, it doesn't feel like... Up to this point, it felt like it was just a gimmick. Like, they just undo everything, because it really wasn't outside of Green Arrow. It wasn't felt outside in the other books. But with what's happening with Barry and Bruce, you know, there is still a cost, a price, if you will.
Which led to a lot of my theories were kind of evolving out the fact that there wasn't any reference to it in any other books other than Green Arrow.
Yeah, we were wondering if it was a simulation, if it was all in someone's head, you know.
But, you know, with Booster, there's always that time travel aspect that can just go and undo everything. And especially with how King's writing Batman right now, in the place that it's in, anything can happen. You know, like, you know, so. But yeah, I'm looking mostly positive. I think the negative, I'm going to start breaking things. So, for my own sake, I'm going positive.
Sometimes those gaps when Matt's speaking happen at really funny times.
Absolutely.
But hey, I mean, hoping for the best. I mean, what the actual odds are is a difficult thing to pin down, but here you go. Yeah. So at Eritrine, and this is Tyler who makes us read Rick Grayson, just for the record.
Yeah. Tyler, what's up, dude? You're my favorite.
How would your Latin core look if you were drafting Marvel characters? Can be any color, but you can only pick one core. So I guess we're all picking one core and then picking some Marvel characters to fill it. I mean, Hulk's in the red, obviously. I mean, right?
Easy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking where to put Thor. So give me a minute. That's the one I want.
And that'll be Matt's color. Yes, that's what he's thinking.
I feel like I don't know Marvel characters well enough to be on the surface level to really place them in a core.
Well, I would put, if I'm doing blue, I'm putting Daredevil there.
And Cap, surely. Really... Hope, yeah.
Yeah, Cap's there.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like you put Cap and Thor in green because they're both like, that's like the warrior one. You know what I mean? Like those are those two guys are soldiers.
Yeah.
You know, like John. So, but you could put Cap in blue. Cap's always hopeful.
Here's the thing. I think you put Wolverine in red, but I think Laura and Gabby go into Compassion. They go into
to Indigo.
Yeah, they're forgetting the fact that Indigo was all people who used to be criminals that are reformed.
Yeah, just in the concept of compassion.
Yeah, just forget that part of it. Yeah.
Does Marvel have an orange?
I'm thinking
a greedy person. I'm sure they do.
Yeah, but who like?
Oh, dude, Kingpin. He's Lex Luthor light, so of course he.
Yeah.
I would argue he's Lex Luthor, but heavier, man.
Well, you know what I mean. He's a blue collar. He's blue collar Lex Luthor. You know, like
what you're trying to say is shit, Lex.
Oh, I like Kingpin. I like, but Lex is my dude. We all know this. Who do you put in Violet over there? I think maybe Medusa from the Inhumans, right?
If you say so.
Yeah, I can't back that one up.
Oh. Black Panther's in blue.
Sure,
he's hopeful. Namor's in red. That dude's
I
always
feel like Black Panther's a lot more cynical though. Like he's almost like a Batman-esque in prepare the world.
So would you put him? He doesn't seem motivated by fear. And not that Batman's motivated by fear either, but it's a key component of his persona.
Fear.
Yeah. Panther doesn't.
No,
I look at him, and I might be colored by the movie because that's the version I'm most familiar with. But like movie version's blue.
Sure.
I'm trying to think about Spider-Man because I'm like, there's an argument for blue, but I feel like willpower's his biggest thing. So.
Yeah, I'd probably go just throw him in green.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Iron Man could be orange, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
I
can't really see him anywhere else.
Yeah.
Well, you could put his demons are based by fear too, so in touch with his fear, and that's why he does a lot of his creations. So you could put him in yellow if you want.
Maybe.
I guess.
I'm still trying to put Thor because I don't see that Thor fits in any particular, except for green. Like I can't.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think after where we are in Aaron's run, I don't think we can put him in green anymore.
No,
I think because where he was like, you know what, I'm not worthy,
right.
And he kind of gave up.
Yeah,
for far too long for it to be for him to have the willpower to keep going.
Real quick, did you read the most recent one?
Hell yes, I did.
Because the most recent one, he's definitely red. Like you know what? He could be the White Lantern of the DCU, where he can, or MCU, where he can touch it. I
love how it's specifically MCU. It's not this Marvel Comics.
Well,
it's cinematic universe.
That's how I meant to say, not cinematic.
Yeah.
Was like, but yeah. And who do you put as the Black? Who's the Death Lantern?
Hela.
Yeah.
No, that's showing the nose.
It is, but
Loki's orange for sure.
There you go.
Loki's orange for sure. Ghost Rider. You put this Ghost Rider's Compassion. This new kid.
Obviously, you mentioned the last issue. I thought Odin. Odin gets an orange.
Yes.
But here's the real question, though: where does Gwenpool go?
I don't know. I don't know Gwenpool enough.
Honestly,
I feel like there used to be a color for chaotic, because that's where a character like Gwenpool.
Well, that's where Deadpool would be too, right? Like, I'm trying to think of other X-Men. Like,
yeah.
Where'd you put Cyclops? Sea Purple, because he's always
back in the grave.
Sea Violet. Because he's got love issues, like he can tap into that.
It does. I feel like he's kind of more the simple leader, though. At least most of the time.
Yeah.
So He's probably just
he's
blue.
too bland to have a color.
Oh. There's good versions of Cyclops. I just haven't.
Yeah.
You've just never seen one.
Yeah. I'm going off of the Avengers. I'm getting caught up on Avengers. There's all these characters I'm being introduced to.
I like Jean Grey's probably compassion, and then Kitty's probably willpower.
Kitty's hope.
Yeah, or hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel there's often a lot of overlap with hope and willpower. I feel like more often.
Well, there is. That's why they have such a good relationship, though, isn't it?
That's true.
Whatever one Colossus goes into, I put Kitty in the opposite. You know, because they feed off of each other.
He does not go into hope.
Huh?
He doesn't go into hope.
I don't know. He overcame, Soviet Russia.
Yeah, but I think that's willpower rather than hope.
Oh, that's true.
So let's put hope then.
I don't think Colossus is inspiring enough. He doesn't have that ability to inspire others that most hope wielders do.
His sister's definitely an orange. Orange or red.
All right, I think we'll leave it there. Yeah. We could keep going probably, but over there. One last question then from Matt Talking Superman, because
friend of the show.
He must always get mentioned on the show. Apparently, I know he basks in the mentions. He loves the shout outs.
It's good. His Twitter keeps me going sometimes when I'm like, ugh, this sucks. He's usually so positive that it snaps me out of whatever funk.
We have to let him know beforehand that he's going to be mentioned in the show, because I think when we mention him on the show, he likes to be listening in the bath and be soaking in the hot tub when he hears his name, so he can just wash himself all over as he hears it.
God, you made that so creepy.
It was supposed to be creepy, Matt.
Context, I get it. It's fine.
Anyway, what's a DC retcon that you think works well? Oh, so many of them.
Jeff Johns. All of them.
Joe's funny about this question to me. I feel like DC, for the most part, is actually quite good at retconning. However, the ones that stick out that we always talk about are the ones that don't work, because they're the ones that stick out like a sore thumb. It's the New 52. Yeah. It's the big retcons that we don't like that.
Well, because
there's so many retcons. Oh, I mean, we had one in Justice League like last month.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but when they do retcons like that, and they're well thought out, they tend to work out, because DC's so big and sprawling. You can do that.
I will say my favorite retcon right now is the one going on in Hawkman at the minute.
Yeah, that's a good one.
With this way of everything works.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what my least favorite retcon is.
Don't say Superboy punching, because I love that one.
No, not that. Not that. Okay. It's about a certain Jason Todd coming back to life when he was supposed to be dead.
No. So the Lost Days mini by Winnick really, really fixes that. So...
yeah, but we still have to put up with Jason Todd. He's still here.
Yeah, I think it's less about how it was changed and more that it was changed that Pete's annoyed about.
Yeah. I don't mind Jason Todd existing. I just don't.
Oh, I do.
Because
I mind it. I have to read it.
Yes, well, I know that, but I don't know. I don't hate Jason Todd as a concept. I hate how they've been using
on a similar wavelength. I'm looking forward to the retcon of Rick Grayson.
Yes.
Oh, that's fancy. When Connor muted his mic, there was a little mute symbol that appeared above him.
Ooh.
I can see that he's done it.
Just so I could cough and not.
I wasn't criticizing. I was just pointing out that now I can see when
I did notice it does a little black flash as well when I mute it over my image.
I'll tell you what retcon I didn't like was in Superman Reborn, and they got rid of Connor.
Well, that was the best.
He didn't exist.
That worked.
And then that started a whole thing.
Who is Connor Kent? That was the best running joke we've ever had, and I am.
It's a shame it had to come to an end. Isn't it?
Eventually they had to bring him back and ruin it, but yeah, that was gold.
Trying to think what other retcons.
Well, I mean, the big ones are whenever there's a crisis and they change the entire universe again. Those are the big ones.
Well, Convergence having its cake and eating it too was pretty lame. Where it's like all the crises has happened, but none of them happened also. So we're in this weird middle point.
That's Convergence for you.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm trying to think of small specific character stuff that kind of improve things. How do we feel about the Johns? Barry's mother was killed. By Reverse Flash.
That's fine. I was never
I'm the fact growing up on it.
Well, growing up a Wally guy, I didn't care too much about Barry and his whole thing. So when it happened, I was just like, okay, cool. I like Barry enough, but Wally's my Flash. So
Here's why I'm mixed on it. I like what it does with Reverse Flash, and making it personal and
personal.
Yeah, but it does take every hero needs a tragedy, right? And before it's like no, he's just a hero because he's a good dude.
Yeah,
and I like that.
I think I like the idea of a villain going back in time and doing something awful like that. I think I always like the concept of that.
Yeah.
Well, because now he gets to credit himself.
Yeah.
With creating the hero.
And it brings all these questions of is things cyclical? Does he only exist because of what Reverse Flash did? But Reverse Flash only did it because of how he feels about the Flash.
Right.
Given that Flash is so steeped in sci-fi, it added all this.
Yeah, that's why I'm because I really like what it does in terms of the story and the themes and stuff they can play with. Yeah. But it does take away that one thing of now it's another one motivated by tragedy.
I'll tell you the one retcon that I really enjoy because this version of Kara was the Loeb version from Superman Batman where she got stuck in the explosion and you're late.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that's kind of stuck around for a lot of versions of her now. Like, the TV show's done that. The current Rebirth version of Supergirl had that. Like, that's been an ongoing thing for a long time.
It's kind of the go-to standard now.
Joe, I think,
because
Joe, I think makes it work though, and this is why it's a good idea. Because it makes her different from Superman. Because unlike Superman, she remembers Krypton. She remembers growing up there. Exactly. She remembers her parents.
Well, yeah. Silver Age Supergirl is just a girl version of Superboy. She's not much different. And so this did make Kara feel special because she's a different kind of refugee. Whereas Clark doesn't remember the homeland. She does.
I do think the TV show doing this version has solidified it as this is the version we'll get.
Yeah.
From now on.
That makes sense.
And I'm okay with that because I like this.
So that one's I'm gonna say that one's probably my favorite because of what it's meant. And it introduced me to Supergirl because I wasn't I hadn't read the whole Earthbound Angel stuff yet by the time I had read that. Which is completely different from Kara, who died in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So
no, I like that a lot. I mean, some of that early run that came after that was a bit weak, but but
it really hit its stride with Sterling Gates and
Sterling Gates, I mean, I haven't actually got to that point yet. I got up to the point where it introduced the Legion story and that she'd been in the Legion for a while.
Yeah.
So it kind of tied in with that. And that stuff was actually pretty good. So, but the actual introduction in Superman Batman was solid from what I remember. It's been a while since I read it, admittedly. But
Michael Turner on the art there.
So that's great.
Yeah. So... Okay, there you go. That's questions. We can finally move on then to the books of the month. What little of them there are. So starting off this week then with Batman issue 64. This is the
price.
The crossover with Flash part 3.
It's 65.
65. Sorry, I forgot to change the number. That's my bad.
It is, yeah.
65. So Guillem March is back on the art, unfortunately.
God's sake.
Again, not terrible, but far from good.
The only positive thing I'll say is that it's not as bad as the last issue they did.
Yeah. I had to double check see if it was Guillem March because it didn't look as.
I think it's as bad.
It doesn't have those specific because last time it was that big, the statue's thigh, or there was that thing there. There was one face from Gotham Girl that made me laugh out loud, though. I will say that.
I don't know. I've got examples of the really awkward looking things.
So
when Gotham shows up.
Oh sure. Now the one for me is when Gotham Girl lands in I think it's the station where Iris is there, and she's got this evil look in her face. She's sort of tilting her head forward, and she's got this smile. It is the most ridiculous, evil looking smile.
She's kind of googly eyed, right?
Yeah,
it looks a little weird. Yeah,
I don't know. There's the panel where Flash arrives at that point. At the top, he just his whole body just looks rough.
Yeah, no.
There's all these scattered throughout the issue where I'm just going, ugh.
Yeah, there's a really bad Flash one. Let me see if Connor was talking about. Yeah, it's when Batman and him are fighting, and he's got Brock Lesnar's neck, the Flash. It's just this huge veiny monstrosity.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So just picture a human version of that, and you got Brock Lesnar on her.
Yeah.
Is that
a real life? It is. Brock Lesnar looks like he has a second set of shoulders coming shoulders.
We put shoulders on your shoulders so you can.
I'm not gonna lie. This book, in terms of the art, set me off on a bad start because the very first page, bottom panel, the guy holding the gun to the family. What the hell is that pose supposed to be?
Yeah.
What's he doing? Like seriously. What is he doing?
This is what we're gonna find out. There's gonna be a retcon where that was Plastic Man. He's all bendy.
Yeah. He also changed hand for the gun for no reason. Like in the panel above, it's the gun's in his right hand, and then we get that panel below, and it's in the left, and he's doing this weird pose.
I actually went a page further on that, and I thought you were talking about when young Gotham Girl punches him in her fantasy, and look at his poses. He's been punched.
Yeah, there's that too.
It looks like his head's been knocked off.
Yeah, it's like he's stretching back, and it looks like the gun's decapitated his head.
It is. Where is the head?
She punched it off.
Punches the head right off.
I remember when King introduced Gotham Girl and said this was going to be a thing. Batman, and I know plans change, but this story has not done anything to ingratiate her.
No,
I do not like this plan.
Yeah, if anything, this issue specifically has convinced me that Gotham Girl is a lost cause, and once she's done with, I don't want to see her again now.
Yeah.
I agree, and like, I don't kind of really care now where her powers came, what happened, and like the serum they keep talking about, they don't actually call it venom.
You're in luck, Matt, because you're going to get a whole issue explaining it anyway.
I know.
I don't know. We've only got one issue left though, and we have to finish the story with her because the book ends so all the clones actually eventually essentially disintegrated because the power was too much, and they used it all. And Gotham himself does this. So at the end of the issue, she takes the serum herself and then goes all basically Jean Grey Phoenix Force on them, and that's the cliffhanger. But that's basically the only other thing to really note is I like the scene where Iris wants to do an obituary for Wally, even if no one's ever going to see it.
Yep.
I like that just in terms of concept.
As a beat. Yeah. Basically, the stuff that is Flash specifically related is still pretty good.
Yeah, it's Flash and Batman arguing and him demanding to know if Gotham Girl went to Sanctuary, and Batman claims that she didn't. He doesn't know where that mask came from.
Yeah.
Liar.
It feels to me basically anything that feels like it's come from or would have affected Williamson's book anyway, right? Like the dealing with the Wally stuff and his relationship with Batman. That stuff's solid. Anything that's come from King's Batman run, it's been pretty rough in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really defend much of it, to be honest.
Yeah, because it didn't even have the banter of the last. Like this is probably the weakest of the issue so far.
Of this crossover, yeah. No, I would agree with that. Because the art's really bad. There's not really a whole lot of advancement in the plot. I mean, there's some small beats I like when Flash just races off to the city and Batman has to catch up with the Batwing, and he's pushing the engines. He's like, push the engines. He's like, sir, you're going to explode. Push the engines, damn it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Batman's developed a superpower that through the last couple books that he just is resistant to explosions, because we saw that in Detective. The Hellbat was going to blow up.
Yeah.
And now the Batwing.
This one was funnier to me though, because this was more like a traditional movie thing where he's just like, no, keep overload, just keep pushing it. Because the Detective Comics things told him that he has a 95% chance of having a heart attack.
Yeah.
So that one bothered me way more. This was more just.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just saying, he's that's a secret superpower.
And to be fair, when it gets to the point where Alfred's going, you need to eject now, he pretty much does.
Yeah. He's already there more or less.
Yeah.
This was kind of a rougher one compared to the last two.
Yeah.
Gotham Girl unfortunately is kind of a lost cause now.
It's a shame because I really like that stuff back at the start of the run.
Her voice still seems off. She still feels like a complete psychopath. When Gotham,
I'm sure she's been sampling the venom too.
Yeah.
Probably.
Because when Gotham shows up and she's like, "Oh, look, no, my brother's already here," the look in her face, she looks like a complete and utter psycho. I'm finding it a hard time to relate to her or empathize with her here.
Yeah. See, if King had been seeding her throughout, it would have been fine. We'd kind of seen what she'd been up to,
but just coming back to it like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely feels like a filler. Like he was just like, oh yeah, I was gonna do this with Gotham Girl. You want to do this, Josh? And Williams was like, sure.
He's basically gone, do you know what? I can't be asked for that. You do it.
Yeah, I mean, like Batman's entrance to the fight's okay. You know, your Gotham Girl's got Flash pinned down, and he kind of like her head gets hit with like a smoke bomb or whatever, and you know Batman comes down from the Batplane. Like, that's okay as far as action stuff goes. But yeah, she takes the serum, but they're begging her not to, and she turns into like Phoenix Force Gotham Girl, and it's like, okay, see you next issue. So
yeah,
not a lot of advancement, honestly.
At least it'll be over next week. Like
That's
this
true.
is what's great.
Yeah, and then we get right back into nightmares.
Yes, but the Flash can go back to just being the Flash again, though.
Yes,
that's just true. Because you know, that is from the because this is the Batman issue. From the Batman side of it, this was gonna be like, oh, we get a nice month break from Nightmares. We get Williamson doing this crossover, and we're like, oh, this will be good.
See, I'd rather have what the F than blah. You know, at least Nightmare says what the hell am I reading? This is just like, oh, this is what I'm reading. You know, there's a difference.
Yeah, at least Nightmares, for all its weirdness, there's at least like, okay, there's something going on here, even if I don't like what it is.
It's how I feel about David Lynch, where I'll watch it. Okay, I never have to watch this again, but at least it was interesting to watch than something else that was just like forgettable. You will never forget a David Lynch movie. You know what I mean? At least I won't.
I know, I love David Lynch, so I don't forget him.
Yeah, I know.
But I'll forget this story in a year's time. When
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we come to the end of the year, doing recap the year, what we do, all that stuff, I'm probably going to struggle to remember that this happened.
Yeah. Doesn't help that it's in February, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but even more so.
All right, what are you giving it, Connor?
3.5.
Matt?
I'm giving it a 5.
I'm going to give it a 4.5. Hey, that averages out around like a 4.3 or something like that. So that's one of the lowest rated books across the board that we've had in some time.
I will say the one benefit is it read fast.
That's true. Which is not something I can say for the next issue we're going to talk about. That takes us on to Justice League, issue 18.
You sound like you weren't a fan.
James Tynion the fourth, writing with Pasqual Ferry on the art. I was not. This was so Brainiac is getting into Lex Luthor's mind, or bringing Lex Luthor into Brainiac's world, whatever way around it was, and Brainiac's
it was. Brainiac was hacking into Lex's brain and was going to take over his body.
It was voluntary to a point, and then Brainiac's like, haha, but now I'm going to take over because screw you. And
curse you and your sudden yet inevitable betrayal.
Yes, I was going to say it. That was the best moment of the issue, is when Lex basically quoted Firefly, which of course came from Joss Whedon, the creator of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So that made me laugh. Otherwise, though, it basically became, to get out of it, Lex is like, hey, let me just actually like tell you everything that happened with Vandal Savage because this is important. And it was mostly just recapping things we kind of already knew with some more detail and a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I like that.
I really like this issue.
Yeah, me too.
Really? I was not feeling this one.
I think it helped that I really like the art. I'm not familiar with this artist. I don't think I've ever encountered them before.
Yeah, it was okay. I wasn't. Yeah,
Pasqual Ferry's been around.
Yeah, but I've never had any experience with him.
So I feel like this is Snyder, and granted this is Tynion, but he's working on ideas. I feel like Snyder's going through the old Justice League and taking bits and pieces, and this is the Luthiac stuff from that, where they joined. But even the art style, Pasqual Ferry's, it's very cartoony.
It is, yeah.
In its look. And I like that a whole lot, especially when we get to the history and we see all the different, people that
Vandal throughout time, yeah.
Yeah, because you have them with Arion, and then Satanus, and then it looks like Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, he's got something going on with Ares, I think, by the look of it.
Yep.
Let's not gloss over Colonel Sanders there, Matt.
Yeah, he's in the third. I don't know who that's supposed to be. But then you have the Ultra Humanite, and then what looks like, the Dark Gods on the other side, and then of course Roz, which I've always wanted a Roz and Vandal Savage story because these two immortals Like
Yeah.
you know, they were at opposite ends at one point.
Oh, of course. They definitely went to war at some point and then called
And
the
like
truce.
I want that story, like you know. But yeah, so I liked all of this. So yeah, that is Ares, isn't it? I thought it was one of the you know.
No, I'm pretty sure that's just Ares.
The devil gods. Yeah, no, that makes more sense.
Yeah,
he's communing with the gods.
Yeah, I thought it was Ares. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But
yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, so
and then we get him with Lionel.
Yeah,
Lionel basically.
Lionel's the biggest chunk of the issue because it's you know, once he gets to Lionel, it's like, okay, Lionel helped with all this stuff, but ultimately he took it from him and made him so because he was this intelligent, he was like Lex, he was this scientist who was trying to figure all this stuff out and was obsessed with it. But Savage decided, like we knew from before, that he was going to just move the Earth so that the totality never hit it, and we would never have to deal with Perpetua. Because Vandal somehow ended up being kind of sensible in all this.
Right.
Yeah,
moving the Earth off of its axis. Sensible, according to
it was one of those where he says, "Oh, I'm gonna break off a bit of the crust and shift." I'm like, this sounds like your plan involves killing a lot of people.
But you know, onward and eggs and all that.
Yeah. This is it. It's but I genuinely feel like he's going, no, greater good on this one.
It feels like that to me. Yeah. And Lex, on the other hand, or Lionel, on the other hand, rather, is like, no, there's so much potential with this and Doom and all these.
You just need to believe.
Energies. So Lex is basically convincing Brainiac of this, and Brainiac lets Lex wake back up at the end. Is the thing. He lets him. He's like, no, okay, we'll do this together. I won't just take control.
Oh, I'm calling it now. Lex Luthor's gonna have a face turn. As soon as Perpetua comes, this dude's gonna be like, oh no, what have I done? I am actually a hero. He's gonna end up like being like Vandal Savage here, you know. And will it cause his death? Maybe. I have no idea what's in store, but I feel like he's just with this whole thing about belief. He is out of his element now, you know. Like he believes in something other than Doom. Also, I don't want to skim over on the page with Lionel going through finding all this stuff. They talk about the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
And these
Imps,
thought constructs, which I've never heard Mxyzptlk described as that, because we know he's from the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
Right? But it all makes more sense now. So I kind of appreciate Snyder for doing that. Like,
I do like the idea that Lionel only wants to get to the fifth dimension so he can get to the sixth dimension. It's like, no, that's just a stopgap. The sixth dimension is where we really want to go.
And that's the plan going forward, because that's where they're heading now, or where they're going to try and head.
But like, I like also too that the other creatures have called them leprechauns and boggarts. So the fact that they're imps, you know, I like when they play with stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's good. Oh, this is the explanation throughout history.
Now we need a St. Patrick's Day special with Mixie.
With Mixie. Oh my god,
as a leprechaun.
Mixie and Vandal Savage.
Oh, this would be so good.
Imagine that. Because, you know, usually when you see Vandal Savage, he's super humorless, and Mixie's not, right?
Yeah. His deadpan reaction to all of Mixie's hijinks.
Yep.
I need it.
And him just trying to get his hands on that leprechaun gold. Like,
get on it, DC.
But no, I really like this. Like Pete said, it ends with Luthor waking up and convincing Brainiac that you have to believe in something. Like, you just can't have this cold logic, and this is the way we're going to do it. It means nothing if you don't believe in it. And I kind of like that message.
Yeah, I like mostly what it's doing. I just felt like it didn't need a whole issue to do this, I guess. Like, I felt like it spent a long time just recapping things, and it felt quite wordy. By the end of it, I was like, I'm fine with the outcome. I'm fine with the things that it did in terms of plot, in terms of what it's setting up. It's just, I could have done with this being a side plot and a main issue, I guess is what I'm saying.
Me and Connor tend to like historical stuff, I think.
Yeah.
So I think our bias comes into play here, because I get everything you're saying.
That bias is coming into play in Aquaman. Don't you worry.
Yes, I was going to tweet at you if you had read it yet, but I decided to hold it till the show. So...
I read it last night, and I was like, oh boy.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think this is a bad issue. It's just that, like, it was one where I was squeezing this in before the show started. I'd left this till kind of last minute, and I was like, this took like twice as long versus any other book that I read.
It's long compared to the other books this week, but I don't think it's actually that long a read. I think the other books just happen to be particularly
that short. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I say, I like everything it's doing. I just think this would have been better as a subplot in another issue of Justice League rather than being its own issue the whole time.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's what it is. But the art was fine. Like, I didn't have any problems with the art really. You know, Lionel had that. Lionel was basically like Old Man Connor, to be honest.
Kind of.
The only thing that felt weird about that is that gingers go grey much quicker than that, so Lionel shouldn't be that ginger still. But
it's true. I'm heading there myself.
Yeah, but he was still kind of a young man, because remember, that's the Lionel he remembers, is the drunk that, you know.
Well, yeah.
He was still ginger in all those scenes.
He was.
Yeah, but I'm still, Lex is still relatively young, so, you know, who knows how old Lionel was when he had him. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's fair.
So,
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
What are you giving it, Connor?
I really liked it. I'm going to 7.5.
Yeah, I really liked it too. I'm going 8.5.
I will give it a straight 6. There we go. Justice League 18. Which will take us on to Aquaman, the aforementioned. This is issue 45. This is Kelly Sue DeConnick and Robson Rocha. So this issue, the main sort of present day story is Aquaman going with the lady. I've not learned her name yet. Callie, thank you. They're going on a boat to meet the old woman because she's agreed to go finally.
And that stuff it's fine.
It's fine,
right?
Yeah. It's just them on the water. Eventually, they hit some rocky road, as it were. But I'll wait and we'll talk about that later because we kind of have to explain why they're hitting this rough terrain. Because it's
that stuff is almost the subplot of the issue. It's just like it's ticking along. We'll get there.
The main thing is the backstory of the gods and how the gods, or at least most of the gods, were created. It all goes back.
And suddenly you see why me and Matt are so into this.
Hey, you say that as if I'm going to hate this issue. I actually quite like this issue because most of this was new. It was interesting information. It was like mythology specifically to this, and it was like
but it was the first panel. Is like every cloud is a story of the world began. You know, the stories of myths. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like this.
Yeah. I love a good origin of the god story. Whether it's the Greeks,
I'm a sucker for it.
It's the Norse, the gods that I've never even heard of, like the Aztec creation myths,
so
they're great.
It was there was basically the water god and the salt god, basically shacked up. And
everything comes from the ocean.
They weren't even necessarily gods at that point. They were literally the ocean and salt. They were literal personifications.
Water and salt. And by their unification became the ocean.
Yeah, and then
that's it. Yeah.
They made the first four gods, which were sky, wind, fire, and earth.
Which made me want to yell "Heart" by Your Flowers combined. I am Captain Planet.
So that makes me think of the Fifth Element, actually.
So.
Yeah. That's what it is.
But yeah.
By the way, I love that the wind one looks like a bird. That really cracked me up in the art.
Yeah, it's all avian. Yeah.
Kelly Sue is killing it on this book. This is again my first
It's because I was not as super hot on last issue, but oh man, I'm way back. I'm straight back in on this one.
So here's the question, right? So these gods that sent them there, right? Because they're sending Callie back to her mother so they can get off the island. This is their plan, right? Or were they keeping her away? Was the plan? Do they know this is her?
They don't know.
No,
they don't
know.
No, they don't know. Yeah, it can't be clear because later on, it's not really her daughter. She just hid this
piece of her.
This piece of the energy she needs to become strong.
No, it's a Horcrux.
Okay, it's a Horcrux. Yep. Fine. Yes. If you want to go down the stupid Harry Potter route of explaining,
no.
Don't say stupid.
I'll say stupid.
You got Matt there. I'm taking it because it's one of 7 as well. I'm going with it. It's a
magic number. 7. If you look in a bunch of different cultures, whole idea of magic, 7 is always a significant number.
It's 7s and 9s are the most common.
Yeah, and so, I mean, this whole mythology of the water god being upset that the children basically plotted to kill him. And then him trying to take them out.
Well, no, I mean,
And then
they
the
did kill
mother-
him, right? They did kill the
Yeah.
Water God.
yeah.
Because the mother, like, because he brings his concerns to the mother, and the mother
Yeah.
tells the children, and the children in retaliation kill the
Yeah,
water.
that's right.
Yeah. So
Murder him is sleep. This is very Greek.
Greek.
Zeus and Kronos is what springs to mind.
and it's during this part
Kronos.
of the book where in the present day story, salt spikes essentially start coming out of the water. So they're getting close because it turns out, you know, Mama or whatever her name is, or Nama. This is the salt, you know, the original salt mother god, whatever you want to call her.
And so when I looked all these up, I looked up Nama, goddess of the ocean and water and whatnot. And if you go off of history, Sumeria were the first people to write things down, right? They were the first with written language. So the fact that, again, Kelly Sue doing all this homework about mythology and gods and making it all fit, because of course Nama's the oldest, if she was the first written down, right? And all of them come from her. And then, like in Greek, she's the mother of monsters, you know? I forget that god or that titan's name. But so these 7 creatures come from her.
Yes, they do.
Funnily enough, in Avengers, she's part of the Mother of Monsters, is part of Namor's Defenders of the Deep. I can't remember her name.
Yeah. So the salt mother becomes like 7 monsters, right? And then to combat the monsters, the kids, like the sky and the fire. The fire gives a little bit of itself to the sky, and that creates the sun. And all this other nonsense, which is I mean, I like that idea, but it's the only part of this where I'm like, yeah, wait a minute, hold on, but like space and, you know, all the science.
Yeah, but again,
it's a creation myth. Just go with it.
Yeah, but it's actually happening though, because Aquaman's here. Like all this thing.
But not in that way. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, this is how they said it happened. These could be, you know, alien beings, and this is what they think.
Okay.
You know, for all we know, or extra dimensional.
I'm just trying to make it jive with everything else that's still happening in the DCU.
But again, I like hearing, like, in the different mythologies where the sun comes from, or you know, like it's fun how these ancient civilizations thought about like the fact that Apollo rode a chariot across the sky, and that's why the sun moves in its arc. You know, like
and then so they felt guilty about killing their parents, so they created humans and everything else. Everything else as we know it, basically.
Which reminds me of the Norse mythos, where, you know, Odin had a hand in creating humans because he killed a lot of the giants and, you know, forebearing gods.
He's like, well, you know, that was a lot of life.
Yeah. So, this was great. And then we get the whole stuff with, you know, the sense of foreboding we get, because now we know, like, Nama, you know, Kaylee can't be reunited with Nama, or bad things will happen.
Yeah, because Nama wants revenge. She's basically come around to thinking how the water originally thought, is that, no, the children need to be taken out. Like, vengeance must be had upon.
Well, and now the children are, you know, the humans are the grandchildren, right?
Essentially,
this curse.
Because it makes sense that this land that Aquaman's been on has been this place where all these gods who, to her, they knew are gods. But, you know...
but the humans are the forgotten ones.
Yeah. So, you know, Aquaman, the boat gets wrecked, and Aquaman's, like, grabbing Callie and, like, swimming through the water.
And I still believe, like, him, you know, tapping into the stuff in Drowned Earth, he is a water god now. You know, for the sake of the story. Like... And I
think that's how he ends up there, is because of that.
Yeah, they're all lesser ocean gods on this island. And she basically wanted Callie to grow to full strength away from her until she was ready to be, you know...
Yeah. Kaylee's real name, should we say, is read. How were you guys pronouncing that?
Let me pull it back up.
It was
the Calic, I was saying.
Okay.
What were you saying, Calich?
No, I went Gaelic on it and went Sherlock.
I would never have guessed that. I don't know how to pronounce something Gaelic.
Well, I think when I pulled it up, that name comes from the Gaelic ocean god.
Really?
I think so. I'm gonna look this up.
Because that's kind of how Mama went to reading it. I could be completely wrong, but I was just intrigued as to how everyone else read it.
You may be right, but my mind would never have.
No, I get that, and mine might have gone in completely the wrong direction.
All right, I just remembered I can't look up on the stuff on the internet while I'm recording. It's gonna cause chaos, so now I have to look it up.
Oh, jeez. Okay. It's a bad idea.
But I really like this issue. This was good.
Yep.
Yeah.
In Gaelic mythology, I'm gonna have to how to say it.
Yeah, yeah. Because her final line in the book, when we finally see her and she's all in her demonic glory, she's like, "I will punish the world for what my children have done." So the lesser gods don't know who she is, and they think they're just going to have a nice, that their island will go back to normal and they'll prosper because the old woman witch is going to be satisfied.
I think did someone say the humans are the grandkids? They're not, are they? Because it's the lesser gods are the grandkids.
Yeah, the new gods made newer gods, and then the
right.
So
it's at the top you've got the water and salt.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids are the elemental ones, the fire, wind, sky, and earth. And then below that, you have the gods of like the ocean gods, and where this specifically.
Yeah, there's several.
So they're the grandkids.
Because there's several gods of the ocean, and then presumably there's also several gods of fire, gods of wind, gods of so on.
Well, yeah, but notably there wasn't a new water god out of the first four. So I think it was those four created all the other gods.
Right.
So that's how
as a replacement almost.
Yeah, so the newer gods are grandkids.
Okay.
Yes, but are humans the great grandkids? Are they also grandkids? Because from the story it sounded like
you're right.
Because from the story it sounded like the Ford also made the humans.
You're right. So that would make humans also grandkids and
siblings.
I'd probably go with cousins.
Cousins. Yeah. Okay, they're cousins to the newer
cousins to the newer gods.
I can't find the pronunciation, but it's Gaelic, so I'm gonna go Connors.
All right.
I was going to.
Which might have been a wrong pronunciation anyway, but that was as close as I could get it in my head.
Callie. I was going to say the Callie. It's fine.
Yeah.
I can pronounce Callie, so we're going with Callie.
Because every time I look up how to pronounce it, I found one, and I don't,
It's just not helping. The internet is not good enough.
No. No. I mean, I actually quite like this issue.
It's also known as the Divine Hag, so that's great.
Because, obviously this appeals to you more than it does to me typically, but this to me felt like such a unique thing on its own that it didn't and it felt it was well told, it was well paced, it wasn't too wordy, it told the story well, and it was adding weight to the backstory of who this villain that we've been building up to is. So, and the art was really good again as well.
It was so many splash pages.
Yeah, Rocha doing really well in this book,
doing something different as well.
Yeah,
I know we've said this every issue of this so far, but it's still every time I open it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's this.
Yeah, no, it's real good. What you give it, Connor?
I'm giving it a 9.
Oof, Matt.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 9 too. A rare time me and Connor line up.
All right, I was gonna give it a solid.
Makes me feel like I should have gone lower.
Yeah, I will give it a solid 8. I really liked it. Obviously, you guys really loved it, but I liked it a lot. I think it's the best issue of the run so far.
Yeah, easily. And me and Matt, we're suckers for this stuff. We know it.
Yeah. I can't help it.
If you do it and do it well, you're gonna get extra points.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I enjoyed the Percy Jackson books so much.
I love those things.
I mean, they were kids' books, but Rick Riordan understands mythology.
I know he did a follow up afterwards with Egyptian mythology, which I never got.
Yeah, he did those, and there's also a Norse one, but I don't have time.
Yeah,
even for kids' books.
But those Greek ones were real good.
Yeah, they were.
That'll take us on then to Naomi, issue 2, Brian Michael Bendis and David F. Walker writing, with Jamal Campbell on the art. And of course, Connor's leaving, you're not going to hear this, but...
Bye, Connor. Even though this would be a book you would really enjoy.
Yeah, this book's fantastic. I love issue 2.
Yeah. There's so many... Talking Superman pointed this out. There's so many questions, but the way that they're paced out, the answers are coming. So it's still satisfying because, and Bendis doesn't sacrifice development for these questions either.
No, I mean, some people hate how decompressed Bendis is, but I actually, I like the pacing of his stories, and I think here it's working really well. And there's been some really good connections. I mean, you pointed out last time how the fight in Superman, the last issue, was the fight that kind of went into Naomi's town, and there's that stuff's going on. It feels part of the world. So she's asking this mechanic about who she really is. Like, you just said my day of my adoption was the last time I had a superhero thing, but how do you know what day I was adopted? You're just a random mechanic in town. We don't know each other, and he basically kicks her out, and I'm not talking to you, and runs away. So Naomi like asks her parents at dinner. Like, you know, there's a great like 2-page layout of her just listening to them talk about whatever random nonsense is going on in town.
But yeah, complete banality of life stuff. You know, Dad's talking about work, Mom's talking about her work, and she's just sitting there before she finally blurts out, "Why does the mechanic know my birth date?"
Yeah. And, you know, they're kind of freaked out by this, and she's asking, like, what do I have to do with Superman? Am I special? Who are my real birth parents? And they don't have answers. Like, they're genuinely unsure.
Yeah, and I love that section of it, too, because they're like, honey, you know, if we knew, we would tell you, but it was a closed adoption. There's no way for us to know. Now, are they lying? We don't know.
Yeah,
but
doesn't seem like it.
The way that it's presented here, it definitely seems like they're telling the truth.
Yeah, yeah. So she says, you know, is the mechanic my birth father? And she's like, that's a bit of a leap, honey. And I'm like, I don't know. There's reasons to think that maybe he is.
Yeah. Well, by the end, we see something.
Joe, it's funny.
It makes us think that, but
there's a really confusing double-page splash in the middle of Superman fighting some bad guys, and I was like, where does this fit into things? And then you turn the page, and it's actually her wallpaper, or not a wallpaper, but she's looking at the news story on the computer. Yep. And that's where the
well, if you look, they're all rogues. Like, you got Girder, you got
the
Weather
Flash
Wizard.
villains,
Yeah. So I wonder where that's gonna pop up, because
next action of Superman, I bet, will somehow we'll end up fighting rogues. And she's talking to her friend, and she's like asking all these questions, and she does figure out though that the mechanic did do time in Iron Heights.
Yeah, and that's what I like too. Like, you know, and then I like how she said it sounds like a knowing like that's where Jeff Johns is from. He created Iron Heights. Like, it's a little fun piece.
Yeah,
Bendis and Walker throwing in there.
Yeah, and then bizarrely she's having these weird dreams of her in this like armor fighting dragons.
Yo, that looks like Gem World. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, she's got this giant axe. She's got this thing. She's got like a not an eye patch, but her armor covers one of her eyes. Yeah, it's a whole thing, and I knew you were going to like this because she has a giant axe. Like, I knew you were going to be.
Of course, I know. I'm a self-parody at this point.
But you know, some of my favorite things about this book are when it just like quietens down because she can't sleep, so she just gets a skateboard. And I love the idea of her going off to investigate with a skateboard. And she's got like a flashlight, and she's sneaking into the mechanic's place, which is unlocked. And she finds this photo of the mechanic when he was younger with this woman who looks a lot like her.
Yes. Real quick, so I remember seeing this now from Talking Superman, again, friend of the show, that was in Action Comics 1004, the Iron Heights stuff. Because I'm looking at it now.
Really?
Yep. So he's punching Girder in the face. And it's an opposite angle, but still kind of the same. So, but yeah. Anyways.
That's really cool. It's nice that it's all syncing up like that.
But yeah, so she sneaks in, and I love how she's... and it's all done, again, the storytelling through the art.
Yeah,
it's
the art's
mostly
gorgeous.
silent pages here. Like,
yeah, the art's fantastic.
Fantastic.
And I love how the coloring is very different on the photograph. Like, it's much brighter and happier, and just feels different. And he's like, he shows up and says, "Hey, can I have that back? It's my only one." And he seems like he really cares about the photo. And she asks, "Who is this?" And he's like, "We're not doing this. We're not doing this. I can't talk about this." And he screams at her because I'm not ready. I'm not ready to have this conversation.
Well, and his name tag is just D. And
his name's what? Sorry, you cut out.
His name tag, it just says D, because that's how everybody knows him. Because that was also a question to the mom and dad, and they're like, I don't know, why would we know his name? He's just a mechanic.
Yeah.
Right? But him in that picture, like, he's all big and jacked still, but there's no tattoos. He has a full head of hair and a full-on beard. And you look at him now, and he's this tattooed monstrosity, you know, looking like a Vin Diesel meets Bane.
Yeah.
You know?
And, this is the end of the issue. Naomi just doesn't back down. She's like, well, get ready, because I am. Who are you and who am I? She's, like, demanding for answers. So, Joe, I like it, but I think you could complain that it's a similar cliffhanger to the first issue in the sense that we end again with the mechanic and, like, demanding answers. But I like this issue because it deals with the mystery to her and how it's weighing on her mind and how it's affecting her. We see how, like, emotionally, because it's, like, her birthright and, like, who are her parents and that kind of thing. But it's also this greater mystery of who is he? Is this her father? Is that her mother? I'm going to assume that he's not her father, actually. I think it's too obvious. Yeah. But,
I think that's like, you know, best friend. Like, he knew the mom.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but I don't think that's dad. That said, he is from Iron Heights. There's greater ties to, you know, like there's a theory out there that this ties into Legion. You know, so there's ties there with the Flash and time travel. You know, like, why was he in Iron Heights and all this other stuff?
Yeah, and like, what was this superhero thing that happened on this day that she was adopted? And is that why she was put up for adoption?
Yeah.
You know, because if it was the day she was put up for adoption, it was after she was born. She was already existing in some capacity.
Yeah. Also, I feel like this is Bendis's like take on the Superman origin, where he's adopted and like mom and dad don't want to talk about it. You know, he came from space and there's a spaceship in the garage. But I feel like it's been updated to the modern. Yeah. You know, so, you know, whatever it is, I'm really enjoying it. Again, I'm playing this physically now, so that's the commitment I'm making.
As am I, man. As am I. No, I'm really into the mystery, but I think the most important part is, though, all in the fact that I also really like the art, is I just really like the character. I like the drama between her and her parents, her and her friends. Like, I'm into it. It's one of the more grounded stories we've got in DC Universe. So, you know, I like it, and I'm okay with it becoming a thing where she becomes like an important character. She becomes a hero or something. Like, but I like it right now. I don't know where it's going with it. I don't know what sort of power she's going to have.
It's kind of what I wanted him to do with Riri in Iron Man. Instead of just having her being like this fully formed character, you know, at MIT, she created her own suit. Take it back from the beginning. Let's see her origin without just wedging her in. And here I feel like that's what he's doing. He's fully forming this character. So whoever she becomes, whatever she's tied to, it doesn't feel like she's just being wedged in there. So yeah. Like, if this character has lasting power, I can see her becoming like one of my favorites. Because she's got that. I love the cut of her jib.
Yeah. I love her determination to find out. I love her sneaking off in the middle of the night. That's the sort of thing I like. The kids get into hijinks, but for good reasons, kind of thing. Yeah. I like that. It's what I like about something like Stranger Things or your, you know, Goonies, yeah, all that kind of thing. So no, Naruto was great. What are you giving it, Matt?
I'm gonna give it a 9.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 9 as well. I love it. Week 3 is a weird week because there's so few books out, and like there's a couple of them that I'm not feeling so hot on. Like, it's great to have at least one like this where I'm like, no, I am excited about this.
Looking forward to it. This week. Yeah, this is the one I saved for last. Like, I was like, I could read it and get to know what's going on, but I'm gonna cherish and relish it.
Yeah. So. All right. So we'll move on then to Catwoman issue 8. Who's still reading this actually?
I am.
Is Connor still reading this? No, you dropped it.
You dropped it.
I dropped this a while ago. I haven't read the last 3 issues, maybe.
Yeah, so this is the second part of a 2-parter, although it still ends with a to be continued. It's still.
So really, it's not 2 parts. Yeah. It's like an intermission, basically.
It feels like it's actually a longer arc. It's just they've kind of said the first 2 are this part 1 and 2, and it's not really.
Have they done that because of the artist changes?
I think so.
Maybe, yeah.
Because did
you can
mention,
definitely.
I don't know if we mentioned in the news last week or not what was happening with Catwoman.
It's getting like a fill-in artist for.
It's getting a fill-in writer as well.
That's right, yeah, for 1 month.
Issue, I want to say issue 9.
Yeah, it's 10. Next month. It's March's issue.
Next month, right?
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the issue that was solicited was just pushed back a month. It's still coming out.
It's essentially a month delay. They're putting out another issue in its place, which I mean, I could have just taken a month off and waited for.
Yeah, who's writing? Do we know?
We do. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I'll go and look while you talk about it.
Okay, go ahead.
So, how did you feel about it?
I'm enjoying the weirdness of this book, and like just through, I appreciate that it's a quick read. Like, I'm never in for more than what I should be.
Yeah, it's a quick read. I'll give it that. Yeah.
You can tell that an artist is doing the scripting because the art still is doing most of the talking here. That said, the story, I have zero idea what's going on. There's some Pet Cemetery vibes. Like, I just kept thinking, sometimes dead is better.
You know, it's weird because like I enjoyed it well enough. Like it's an okay book, and I think the consistent thing I'm feeling with Catwoman though is that it just feels so unimportant. And it's not like every book has to feel like it's the center of the universe and it's the most important thing DC are doing. But you know, like when I'm reading, what's another smaller book? When I'm reading Silencer, it still feels like it's important for itself, right? Whereas Catwoman, it still just kind of feels like, oh, it's just some filler Catwoman stories because we want a Catwoman book, not because the stories feel like they're important enough to actually tell. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, like I almost forget the whole reason she's living in not Los Angeles is because of the wedding.
Yeah.
You know, I just feel like this is one of her side jaunts. You know, and especially this issue because of like Penguin hiring her to steal something, and then you find out it's like this magical thing that brings the dead back to life, and
it produces an elixir to bring the dead back to life because the opening scene's Creel going to buy it for her son who died in the first arc, and
God, I really like Mrs. Creel as a villain. She's creepy. She looks like the Crypt Keeper, like
a little bit,
yeah, you know, so with the corpse looking face.
So she goes to buy this thing. We see her try to use it on her son, and it doesn't look. We don't really see how well it works. It looks kind of like, it looks like he might be coming back. He's got the blue stuff that's coming out of his face, but it's not like he's back and well and healthy and normal by any means.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
That's not your son anymore. You know, like that's a dead body.
But
that's reanimated.
But yeah, Penguin got Catwoman's attention last issue, and it turns out it's because he wants her to steal this thing that produces this.
Yep.
So a lot of the issue is her sneaking into this building, going past all these dead people, dealing with some dogs, and then ultimately fighting the woman who owns the thing. And it's a pretty drag out fight where the other woman's actually kind of kicking her ass for a lot of it.
Yeah.
But then Catwoman kind of starts bashing her over the head with the item itself.
Which not on brand for Selena for me.
Yeah, it's very brutal. She's clearly in a rough place right now. And if eventually the woman's like, okay, you win, you can take it. But Selena looks like she's willing to kill her. It really feels like it.
Yeah. Because didn't the Penguin, correct me if I'm wrong, Penguin did threaten her sister, right? Like, that's how he's getting her to comply. So, yeah, you feel that she's in a hard place. But no, like, again, it's such a weird book. I wasn't expecting it to get to reanimating corpses and, like, the governor's wife being a major drug dealer. And, like, it's so odd. That's what keeps me coming back, you know?
Yeah, no, and like she gets the thing, she comes out and Penguin's there, and she gets her surrounded with guards and stuff, and it's like, so what was it he says at the end? But you wouldn't want me to leave town without a souvenir, would you? So it sounds like he's kidnapping her, and that's where the next arc's going, is that Penguin's taking Selena for something. But we seem to be having a fill-in issue before we get to that, so we'll see what happens. But I mean, the art's really good. The fight looks good. The her sneaking around the building looks good. All that stuff is enjoyable enough. I just wish the plot felt more important.
I get that.
I guess having a random fill-in issue isn't helping with it feeling important.
No, it won't feel. Yeah, it won't help at all. But
I do have the solicit for that up.
I'll go on.
Okay.
So it's by Ram V, and the artist is John Timms. It says, when crooks break into the pawn shop where Catwoman has set up her secret headquarters, they make off with a personal item that she has to get back. The trail of loot leads her to the broker, the man who moves all illicit merchandise in Via Hermosa. Now, Catwoman could just walk in and ask for her property back, but that's never been Catwoman's style. Instead, she's going to pull off a heist that will teach her foe a lesson, and making sure the broker never crosses the cat again.
Yeah, that sounds really throwaway.
Yeah,
I usually, sounds like an annual story.
Yeah, I don't usually consider just skipping a numbered issue of a book, but like I almost feel like I want to skip that one and just come back.
If that wasn't on a week 3.
I know.
Yep.
I know.
Wait, actually, in shops March 13th.
Oh, that's a week 2. Yeah, they've moved that to week 2. That's a busier week.
That's a busy week.
I might skip that issue because it feels like it's just filler.
It's a heist, so I'm going to be there regardless. So.
I mean, I'll see how I feel on the week, but I mean, it feels
no
very
guarantees.
skippable. Yeah. What are you giving it, Matt? What are you giving issue 8?
But it's a 7.5. I think it's fine. Again, weird, odd, but still enjoyable.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel weird about it. I'll give it a 6.5. I think it's fine. I like the art, but it's not set my world on fire, so yeah, it's okay. But that'll take us on to the punishment issues. If you don't know what the punishment issues are, I should explain this in depth for you. So you can support us over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can support our show. You get like a bonus monthly episode with me and Connor at the $5 tier, and you get to vote occasionally what that's going to be. We always try to think of more things to add for the $1 tier and stuff like that. But at least right now, that's what it is. You can actually join the Mail Fuzz TV Discord channel now. There's a public one, but there's also like a private Patreon only room in there. But one of the things you can actually get on the Patreon at the higher tiers is you can force me or Connor to read a book. And this month, Connor's been made to read Red Hood for a long time now. Our long-time patron David has been making him do that. So he's going to be reading Red Hood Outlaw issue 29 first up. So take it away, Connor.
So this is continuing on from the last issue. Like picks right up. If you recall, Batwoman showed up at the end of last issue, and they were fighting that Grundy-esque creature.
Okay.
And, oh, Matt, I think your mic's gone. I'm glad I called it Grundy-esque, because they straight up go, yeah, we're calling them Mondays, is what they're called, because I think they're based on a DNA sample of Grundy or something. I don't know, some sort of bullshit. But they're not alive, really, so they can just kill them and be brutal, and it's fine. The first third of the issue is just an action sequence, which is perfectly good because art's been solid. Can't complain really at that. So I mean, if you ignore all the dialogue, it's perfectly good. The stupid back and forth banter is just terrible. It's terrible. I got no other word for it. At this point, we cut away to the diner from a couple of issues ago, where Red Hood caused a bit of a scene. Might have been last issue, I don't know. But we have that, if you recall, the fake-looking Batman, the knockoff, skulking around, kind of seeing what's happening. Basically, they find a van there from one of the guys there it's hijacked from Star Labs. It's full of all this stuff that Red Hood just left there for them to find, as if he's leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for them to follow. That's pretty much it from that stuff this issue. I think I'll find out if I get to any more that I remember anyway. But they cut back to Red Hood and Batwoman. They take a bike ride and they're fighting a couple more of the things. Some more great art here is one point Red Hood whips out his chain, wraps it around the neck of one of the Mondays and decapitates him with it in a honestly gorgeous silhouette panel. It's really nicely done, that panel. There was a really weird thing actually that started this sequence off. Is the bottom panel is it's the two of them riding on the bike, and you see just this shadowy hand come up behind them, and then there's a sound effect that says grab, and then they're being thrown. The bike's he's got the bike and they're being thrown off it, but it felt really weird to have the grab in this panel before where he's not actually grabbing, and then the next panel it's just they're flying through the air. It was a really awkward thing there. I feel like I missed a beat. I probably wouldn't have questioned it without the sound effect though, because I'd have gone, oh, he appeared and then he grabbed them in the next moment. It was putting that there that threw me. So yeah, they're fighting a bit more, and they finally get to this the house where it's all going down. He gets there and he's ambushed by a bunch of assassins, and so he takes those out as you expect. This one's not a fancy fight scene; it's like 2 panels. And he gets inside and he's talking to the woman who's in charge, the pie lady from before. And it's like, oh, it turns out she's one of the Mondays as well, but a lot more advanced. But he knows because she's hitting hard enough that she can't be human. I say more advanced. When he does finally kind of give her a good slash across the face with his chain whip, the skin comes off. It looks more robotic underneath, but I guess it's just the Grundy thing, and they've got put like skin over it. But the whole thing is she's going, oh, you can't kill me. I've kidnapped all the village's kids, and they're all hidden away under a bunker somewhere in this property, and you'll never find it. And he just goes, oh, it's fine. Batwoman already found it. But I wouldn't be in here otherwise, so you're done now. And then he blows up the house. And that's the end of the issue. But they ride off. Renee comes and picks them up. Montoya's there. for whatever reason, and they're both of them are presumably still in the next issue because they're taking Jason wherever he wants to go. It's a waste of time. There was a funny joke though that about, I don't think it was meant to be funny actually. I say funny to me. Batwoman's feeling bad about, Jason's gone through his loss with Arsenal, and she goes, "I never got Arsenal, but I know you two were close." Yeah, no one got Arsenal. That's why they ended up killing him. No one cared.
I was going to make a joke there about Arsenal being his favourite team, but you went on to the next part to quit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it's supposed to be that funny.
You think with Batwoman, and she'd be a little bit more sensitive to that, being that she's in the Bat family and they're motivated by tragedy, right?
Yeah.
So
it was weird. I mean, it was such a throwaway story. Art's mostly fine, like I said. Mostly pretty good, except for that weird sound effect moment, which really threw me off. Kind of my throw. But there is some nice silhouette sequences. But yeah, it's kind of shitty still. So it's like a 4.
All right.
Huh?
Yeah, Pete has to stop eating now.
Let's hear about the further adventures of Rick Grayson.
Oh, we're getting there. No. This is kind of running trend because of the time we record this. It's always like when I should be eating. It's always dinner time.
Me too.
So I'm always really hungry by the end of the show. So when I'm not talking about a book, it's like a chance to snack on something.
Do you know what's really bad is, there was 2 books there that I wasn't on, and I've got some crisps there. And I'm like, oh, I could have those. And I thought, no, I'll be professional.
I was making sure it wasn't getting picked up. Now, admittedly, the crinkling of the wrapper, I admit, was louder than anticipated. However, the chewing, I was watching the levels. I was making sure it wasn't picking it up at all. So I was being sensitive to that. I know. I'll take credit for that. Unfortunately, for some reason, even holding this behind the mic, like, the crinkling's just too...
unacceptable.
Too loud. Somehow it just gets through.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll get something even quieter next time. I'll get some donuts. Oh, man. Donuts in the middle of a podcast. That sounds like a dream. Alright, so the other punishment issue. Now, last month and for 8 months, I'd been reading Hawk and Dove. And Connor had been reading The Curse of Brimstone for a long time. Unfortunately,
I got the worst end of that deal.
I don't know. You didn't have Liefeld.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you did. So, Tyler had, obviously, my Hawk and Dove finished because issue 8 was the last issue, and he had to pick a new thing for me. He decided to also change Connor's thing because he liked the idea of both of us reading the same thing. So, here we are picking up where we left off with Nightwing from the Rebirth era. This is the Lobdell Nightwing issue 52, co-written with Fabian and Nicieza, with art by Chris Mooneyham. So we are now talking about Rick Grayson once again. You can thank Tyler for this. I hate his guts.
He's a dick, isn't he?
Here we are. So, what did you think of Nightwing 52, Connor?
Oh, what do you think? I mean, it's kind of shite, isn't it?
I'll give it 1 point.
Oh?
It didn't take too long to read.
I thought you were already jumping to your grading.
No, you're right. It didn't take too long to read.
Unfortunately, no, Tyler pays for this privilege. I can't shortchange him too much. I'm like,
no, yeah, I know. Just
straight to the rating. What do you think of Nightwing? It was a 2 out of 10. Let's move on to the next thing. We could just not read it, Matt, and do that.
No, I'm just laughing because the way that you said it, like.
Yeah, maybe we treat this like a cumulative thing where, as we're talking about it, I was like, okay, I guess 1 point for this, or point deducted for that, or 1 point for that. The final scores.
What do we start? Do we start at 0 or 5?
I guess you start at 5 because that's average. That's in the middle.
Okay, we'll start at 5.
Yeah.
Right, point deducted for Rick Grayson.
Just only one
across the board.
Well, I mean, I've been fair.
Yeah, so at the end of the last issue, I did vaguely remember this, like someone tried to mug him and his fighting instincts kicked in and he beat up the dudes.
Alright.
Yeah, it's easy enough. But he's on the roof, he called it in because he beat up the guys really bad. So the police are there.
And then he falls off the roof like a chump.
He falls off the roof randomly, very randomly. He steps at the edge and he's like, "Oh no, it's going to go!" And he falls through. But then some of his other skills kick in, his gymnastic skills, and he actually does a decent job of like landing on the fire escape. And he's like, "Oh, this is pretty cool. I'm going to keep doing this." And he
tries to jump to the next building over.
Yeah, and then he misjudges it and falls onto a taxi cab like an idiot.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Much. That's what you get when you try and jump off buildings when you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. The thing that I didn't remember at all from the last issue is the stuff that's going on with Svoboda, where she's investigating this murder case. Like, I'd forgotten. I mean, I remember this kind of being there, but like I didn't remember it at all.
Fair enough. Yes. Apparently, the guy drowned, but he was in his bed with no water around.
Yeah, and while she's on a call outside the room, this gas comes out of his body.
So they cut him open for the autopsy, and as they do that, it releases this gas, and they all go a bit crazy. It's kind of similar to Joker gas.
It seems like it. So Svoboda turns around just in time, hearing the gunshots, and shoots the main bad guy who got up from the table. Yeah. He's back alive now. Yeah, he's like.
No, that's the coroner, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, you're right. It's the coroner. You're right. Yeah, it's the coroner.
Yeah.
And he's jumping through the window, but Svoboda puts him down, and luckily, doesn't.
I hope Internal Affairs has a little word to say about this.
What, you think Svoboda did something wrong?
I mean, I think they need to investigate it at least. She did just gun down someone on the payroll.
Oh, sure, yeah, but I mean, it was clearly self-defense. He jumped through the window like a mad rage monster, wielding 2 pistols.
Well, yes, but I would like it to be addressed.
Sure.
I don't have much hope that it will be, but it should be.
So Rick's staying in some random person's house who has a lot of cats.
He's a squatter now.
He's a squatter, yes. He's basically staying in people's houses when he knows, because if he's driven them to the hospital or the airport, he knows they'll be gone for a while. So he's squatting in their places whilst they're away from the house. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, and there's a stupid joke where, this away from Threadbare. So what? It needs 4 holds to fit minimum anyway.
Yeah, that was a bad line. Also, Rick Grayson's all like Connor. He doesn't like cats. He has a lot of anti-cat sentiments in this scene.
No. This is the bit that made the most. He goes, "Oh, the cats didn't care if I slept here as long as I fed them, because cats, and now they want to eat again, because still cats."
Yeah, I heard your voice as I read these 2 boxes.
He's not wrong there, though, is he?
Cats
don't give a shit as long as you feed them.
Yeah.
No, they like the cozies. They like to be comfortable. They like to socialise.
I'm not like there's the fashion designer that died this week, and everyone's talking about his cat that he really loved.
This is news to me, but go on.
It's a big it was a big deal. This cat that he properly loved. I think they're saying he's left his inheritance to the cat, and
quite rightly.
The cat is apparently in mourning. I'm like, no. The cat doesn't even notice he's missing. The cat just wants food.
No, that's not true.
No, that's not true. The cat notices he's missing.
No, they don't.
This is true. No. Like, I remember one of my cats was missing for half a day, and while the cat was missing for half the day, the other cat looked distressed that they couldn't find their brother.
Yeah, they care more about other cats than they do about you.
No, you don't. This is all. Every opinion Connor has on cats is just wildly misguided and biased.
I'm almost there with Connor, and then you're painting too broad a brush.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone who says cats aren't social has never lived with a cat.
Yeah. My cat's normally social, but it's usually because she wants something.
See, they want food.
My cats are social all the time when they don't need anything.
Well, you've also had them from kittens. I inherited one when she was like 6 years old. So, but she'll also let us know if she coughed up a hairball and wants it cleaned up. So she'll come downstairs and brave the dogs and start yowling as loud as she can until I go up and check. So,
do you know the sad thing about the art is, like, Mooneyham did some Nightwing before this Rick Grayson stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't amazing,
okay.
But it did have, it fit the pulpy style that Percy was going for. Here, like, there's this grin.
Actively rough.
Yeah, like, as he's leaving this house, he's got this grin in his face, and he's got all this stubble, and he's made to look this tough dude, and it just, I actively.
Do you know what bothers me is he doesn't even look the same since if you go earlier in the book, when he's up on the roof, his face looks structurally different to how it does in that sequence there.
Do you think that even Mooneyham's like, no, I signed up Rick Grayson. So you're getting basement level.
Yeah, he's just phoning it in, going,
Yeah, you dropped out there for a second. It was really funny. It's like you said, you think Mooneyham's like, I signed up for, pause, Rick Grayson.
I said Dick Grayson, not Rick Grayson.
Now, honestly, his face looks too wide for Dick. Like Dick, I think of as a sleek guy. This is a big macho.
It is. He's got a proper wide jaw.
Sorry, Matt. Were you enjoying the phrase? His face looks too wide for Dick.
Yeah,
such a child.
I can't help it.
Yeah. So the other plot that was set up last time is that there's this cop who is sick of being held down by the rules. So he found a bunker of Nightwing stuff that obviously Dick's left behind, doesn't know about, and he's recruited some other cops that he knows are getting frustrated with the rules.
He texted them to come to this address and said, "I need you to help me save this city." That's a quote.
Yes. Does that mean when he's catching bad guys, he's going to be like, "You have failed this city"? Is he going to say that? He should say
I think, yeah, I might.
But basically, he's dressed in the blue Nightwing outfit, and he's got the red one and the classic sort of disco one and whatnot for the others to wear. It's like, we're going to be a team of Nightwings with guns. And that's...
Yeah, basically the Nightwing cops, and it'll be cool.
Yeah, so basically Dick, or sorry, I should say Rick, gets worried because like one of the other cab drivers stops responding. So he goes to the location, and the car's been abandoned. And when he's looking for the body, he ends up, or looking for the person, he ends up like running into one of these Nightwing dudes.
What annoys me about one of these scenes is all issue is telling us no, he doesn't remember anything after his parents died, give or take, right? Mm-hmm. He doesn't remember living with Bruce Wayne. He doesn't remember any of that. So he never got any detective training. But he looks in this taxi's like, oh no, the blood splatter's all wrong. It must have gone this way. I'm like, well, hang on a second. I'll buy the muscle memory because muscle memory. But you can't remember your detective training.
Yeah. Yeah, so the cliffhanger is that he, from behind this lead Nightwing dude with the guns, like, the authorities will handle this. And Dick's like, Nightwing? Like, you're all confused. Yeah. I want to point out one other scene, actually, before he gets the call about the other cab driver. He's dropping off these two girls who, as they're walking away, one says, good night, hot cabbie, and another one says, did you get a picture of him, #hot cabbie. I hate this panel. Yeah. I hate this panel with every fibre of my being. That is
an atrocious panel. That is... And what's funny is usually we quite enjoy when it's, the lady's having a bit of fun with Dick, right? Yeah. Shut up. As soon as I said that, I was like, man's going to react.
Yep, I can't help it, guys. I'm sorry.
But in here, it was like, #hot cabbie. What?
Yeah, this is awful. Do you know what the thing is David...
I think I've seen that video before.
What?
#hot cabbie.
I have not, no.
Don't Google it, folks.
Yeah, I don't want to know. So here's the thing. David makes Connor read Red Hood, and for all the faults of that, David does read that himself, and presumably wants Connor's opinions on what he's read. I don't
know why David reads it. He knows how I feel about it clearly, so this is not a surprise.
Tyler, I am pretty sure, does not actually read this Rick Grayson Nightwing stuff. He's just doing this to make us miserable and hear what's going on. What's
really annoying is once Dick is back, he's going to keep making us read this shit until we're caught up.
Yeah, he might do.
So we're going to be like, 10 issues ahead at the same time.
Here's the concern, though. When we run out of it, what's it going to put us on after that?
Oh, God, I don't know.
I don't know. Make Connor read Bendis.
No, don't do that. That's...
Yeah, I think he'd really enjoy...
Nah, honestly, Naomi. I actually think it's a bad idea, because I feel like you already have me and Matt talking about the Bendis books, and adding Connor as this negative voice would probably just piss off more people than it would be entertaining.
It would, yeah. It's why I don't talk about them, because... Yeah, that's going to be great. Let's just... Because Red Hood people... There is a section of the internet that loves Red Hood, but there is also a very big section who hates Red Hood. So, it's fine. Bendis is too high profile, where the people who love him really love it. And yeah, there are people who don't like him, like I do, don't get me wrong. But I'm not adding anything constructive.
Yeah, it would stifle the conversation for the Bendis books if that happened.
Yeah, you wouldn't be getting your money's worth.
Yeah, so
other than the satisfaction of making me read it, I guess.
So I mean, how to sum this up? Rick is an unlikable tool still. He's a squatter. The dialogue is not always terrible, but sometimes it devolves into hashtag cabby or hot cabby.
Yeah, so we're at 5. We -1 for Rick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
We give it 1 back for its cat talk.
No. We take 1 away for its cat talk. Take away 1 for his squatting nonsense. Take away 1 for the stupid cop plot with them being Nightwings, and hashtag hot cabby takes 1 away as well.
So that puts
and then rough art.
You at
I'm like 0.
You're at 0. I'm at like 0.5. But it's getting 0.5 for the cat comment.
It was a quick read though.
Okay, so let's add a point back on.
Yeah, so I would say through math, I have reached a 1 out of 10.
And I objectively came to 1.5 out of 10. Because it hates cats.
In all honesty, I can't give it a 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 is actually too low, just because it's not like a complete mess to read. Like it functions.
No, it's probably like a 3.
Yeah, it's like a 3 out of 10. Like it's functional to read. It's constructed well enough. You can read through it. It's just really bad in what it's actually doing, and
yes, it makes sense. It's just really bad.
And I hate what it is. I hate that this is supposed to be Dick Grayson right now. Piss off, DC. Piss off.
Yeah.
How dare you? All right, that was the last book. So that will take us on then to the final part of the show, where we pick our favourite stuff for the week. We do favourite panel/moment, best cover, best art, and top 5 books of the week, which this week's going to be a weird list. So, Connor, what's your favourite panel/moment?
So I'm actually going with the very first panel of Aquaman, just where it talked about the myth, because I was like, okay, it got me excited because I knew what I was getting in for, and the rest of the issue delivered.
Okay, all right. I thought it was going to be more to that. Matt, what you got?
So mine's the 2-page thread from Justice League, showing Vandal Savage trying to figure out the rock and whatnot, because it's just full of some fun stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm definitely going with something from Naomi. I feel like I'm probably going with when her parents are talking to her and she actually gets quite emotional as she's hearing about this, and I try to reassure her. I thought emotionally that was a pretty good scene, so I think I'll go with that. Although it's kind of hard to pick because most of the book's pretty consistent. All right, best cover of the week then, Connor.
I'm just looking at the covers now. So if anyone else happens to have one already, they're welcome to jump in.
I'm glancing.
Actually, I think I'm going to go with the Justice League variant, Will Conrad. I really like that one.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I like the Batman variant as well, but yeah, Conrad.
I'm looking at it. I don't remember the variants. I'm just having a glance at them quickly. Matt, what's yours?
Yeah, I'm looking real quick too. I do like the Justice League one, but let me take a look at
I don't think
Aquaman.
there's any standouts this week.
No. Yeah, that one's not. Although he is fighting pirates, so that's pretty cool. But it's kind of rough looking.
Which one's that?
That's the Aquaman.
Oh yeah, that's Cullihan.
Oh no, you know what? I like the Catwoman variant. It looks like
Amanda Connor, I think. Amanda Connor.
Huh?
It looks like Amanda Connor to me.
No, it's Tony Daniel.
Tony Daniel.
Was it? No, fair enough.
Yeah, but it looks, it
was Catwoman's face. It looked kind of Amanda Connor-ish to me.
Yeah, no, it does. But like the way Gotham's in the background, popcorn, and you got all the villains behind Batman and Joker. Yeah, that one. Bad. I like that one.
Has nothing to do with the issue, admittedly. But
no,
that's a variant.
Yeah. Okay. I'll probably go with the main Naomi cover.
Yeah, that one's pretty good too.
Jamal Campbell's art's just really good.
Does Naomi get a variant?
It does.
No.
Well, the first issue did.
Was there?
Yeah,
the first issue. The second one didn't.
Second one didn't. Okay, fair enough.
Let me double check though, because I know I was looking at my shop. They didn't have any, but take a look.
Yeah. I'm not seeing one on previews where they usually list the.
Yeah, it probably isn't then. I just I assumed there would be because.
Yeah, last time was Lupacino, so that was.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, no, there is none.
Fair enough. So yeah. So best art of the week then, Connor.
It's a toss up, but I think I'm going to give it to Justice League. I really enjoyed that.
That's fair.
credit to Aquaman doing something different. It's looking great, but I just edges it out.
Yeah.
All right. So, Matt, then.
Naomi. I was waiting to hear my name called. I didn't want to.
Yeah, sorry. I was just getting the Twitter answers to this up.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, Naomi. My art. It looks so good. It's so subtle.
Yeah, no, I have to go with Naomi. Naomi's clean sweeping for me this week, basically.
Who's the art on Naomi?
Jamal Campbell.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. Okay, can't argue.
It's beautiful. Aquaman was solid though. Rocha's doing a good job in that, so not to put that down. So top 5 books of the week then, Connor.
I literally only have 3.
Well, top 3 then.
I'll give you top 2.
Oh God!
Just
it's Aquaman and then Justice League
and then Batman. So
which was shite, so it's not on there.
Matt, what's your top 5?
So it's Aquaman, Naomi, Justice League, Catwoman, Batman.
I am going Naomi number 1, and then Aquaman, and then Catwoman, and then Justice League, and then in last place Batman.
Wow, buried.
I know. It's a rough week.
Push down the card. You have Justice League doing the job.
We need more books than week 3. That's what we need.
True.
Not enough to really do a proper top 5 up.
We're probably guaranteed at least one of those, Jimmy or.
I think Jimmy and Lois should be weeks 1 and 3 because Superman in Action are weeks 2 and 4.
Yep.
That would make a lot of sense. But
it would, and those are the quieter weeks in general, anyway.
So just look at Twitter. I did remember and ask. I got a few responses here. Some big love for Naomi from at the Thunder Fury FGC. May will have to be Naomi issue 2. I like the mystery we have here. I can't wait to read more. The reveal at the end. ... Really good and godlike art, of course. Talking Superman also said Naomi issue 2. It's great to have a book that raises so many interesting questions and gets people speculating without a massive event. But to give an alternate opinion, at Jason Ardren, I only got 3 DC books this week. Well, maybe they get much more, to be fair.
Slim pickings this week.
Yeah. But mine would have to be Aquaman 45. Loved all the history of who Nama is. A great introduction for the character, which we agreed with pretty much. So there you go. So Naomi and Aquaman were getting all the love basically, which makes sense to me. It's the 2 I like the most by far.
I think it's pretty consistent across the show here that those are the. I mean, obviously I can't speak for Naomi, but we all agreed on Aquaman, and presumably I'll take your word for it.
So, what is coming next week then? Obviously, it's a bigger week, so buckle in. We have Heroes in Crisis issue 6. We have Detective Comics 999, which it's a shame that I'm not looking forward to that because 999 is kind of a big number, but
it's the last 3-digit one.
I know. Action Comics 1008 is out. Wonder Woman issue 65 is out. The Flash 65, the end of the crossover. Batgirl 32, Justice League Odyssey number 6, The Terrifics 13, The Silencer 14. I believe the Shazam issue 3 is finally out next week.
It is.
We also have Martian Manhunter issue 3 and Freedom Fighters issue 3 in the mini section. And then that's pretty much it. Also out next week that we're not covering is Batman Beyond 29 and Ola de Harley. I'm going to take a guess here and say that Sideways might be out next week as well because that got pushed.
Yep,
it is, yeah.
Because that's what we need, a 14th book. I'm guessing a number, but
there's a reasonable chance I might not be here next week.
That's right, yes.
I will try, but
do or do not, Connor.
There's a lot of books for me to read when I get back there, and it might not happen.
I also want to notice that Young Justice second printing is out, and Naomi second printing is out.
Oh, that's good.
So Wonder Comics is killing it.
I think more importantly is what's out next week is Green Lantern by Jeff Johns book 1.
Yeah,
Those trades are finally hitting.
I might have to pick that up because all of my Lantern are in storage right now, and I kind of got the hankering to read those. I don't want to dig through boxes to get them. So.
Yeah. And I'll just say now, in case I'm not here, my cover of the week next week is the Shazam variant.
Yeah, that's pretty great, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Also next week, not DC, but the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer has a hit comic book series now called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and issue 2 is out next week.
Did you say Heroes in Crisis? Did I miss you saying that?
I started with that.
You did. Gotcha.
Yeah. So
I was making sure my internet wasn't messing with the recording. So
no, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. So yeah, that's what's coming next week. That is the show. This has been episode 143 of Comics from the Multiverse. Nearing that 150 mark.
Huh?
Nearing it, yeah.
Yeah.
That amazes me. We're going to have to schedule that extra Detective 1000 episode next month.
We are.
Yeah, I've even been thinking about that, but that's going to have to be a thing when we get to that week. So, yeah, that has been the show. You can let us know what you thought of the books in the comments, of course, and on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. Worth following, because, every week we'll ask what your favourite book of the week was, if I remember to ask.
We should ask that.
Yes, we should ask that every week. And then occasionally in an episode like this, we'll ask for questions as well. So just follow us on Twitter. You can also, of course, get us on Patreon at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. We mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the punishment picks, but there's a lot of reasons to go over there just to get a list of all the things we do. But if you want a warm and fuzzy feeling on the inside and support the show and the channel and keep it coming and make the book somewhat affordable, you can go over to patreon.com and support us over there for as little as $1 per month. You can also, of course, buy merchandise. You can buy Comics from the Multiverse hoodies and t-shirts and hats. There's links in the description to both the US and the UK store, so go have a look at that. And otherwise, that is me. That's us. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.
No shambles this week. We did it.